All right, guys. There's many types of horror movies franchises out there. Some are comedic, some are horrific. What franchise do you feel works specifically better as a horror or a comedic?
Or a comedy?
A comedy, yeah. Did I say comedic?
That's the word.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you asking me, is there a comedy that would work better as a horror, or vice versa?
What kind of franchise works so Evil Dead,
right,
which is the movie we're talking about today. Spoiler alert, John, you should have been on top of that.
Yeah, well, I assume people look at the title of the podcast, they click on, but maybe not. I don't know.
I would hope so. I work so hard on those episode images.
Look, maybe we have one or two listeners that just autoplay everything back to back, and they don't know what's coming up next.
Okay.
We know who you are.
Well, I failed at spoiling. Sorry. I'll do better.
No, like, you know how Evil Dead, like, there's funny installments and there's also like more like scary installments. Is there a specific like franchise that you think works better as one or the other and only works better as one or the other?
So I actually had a difficult time with this question because it seems like almost every genre of anything has already been parodied and satirized. There's already a version out there that's like, you know, you want a slasher movie? Well, we got Tucker and Dale for you. You know, we got these kind of all kind of lined out already. But I did finally settle on two movies that I thought, what if we switched them up a little bit? The first one being Phantasm, because that movie is damn near funny as it is, and it's a mess, and you can't really follow it unless you're on some sort of hallucinogen. And that franchise really goes off the rails towards the end. I don't know how many of you guys have seen, but I'm thinking Sentinel spheres with like Three Stooges hands coming at you to poke you in the eyes. Angus Scrimm is already kind of strangely proportioned, so he could be a funny character.
Wow, just a real dig at Angus Scrimm.
Oh, look, I love the man. Okay,
He's still alive, or is he?
No, he passed, unfortunately.
R.I.P. Angus.
But I love Angus.
He knew how he was proportioned.
That's fine. Yeah. Be who you are.
He went to the big and tall shop. I promise you that. I think that would be ripe for a funny version of Phantasm. You got all the creatures coming out from the different dimensions. You've got Judy fucking in the cemetery and his little brother watching, being all weird, you know? And then my other option was maybe to go the other direction. What about the Greasy Strangler?
Jesus Christ.
What if we made a serious Greasy Strangler? Now, listeners, if you've never seen the Greasy Strangler, the best way I can describe it is somebody said, I want you to make me a movie that is like an adult Napoleon Dynamite with some of the bizarre humor of Tim and Eric, but I want it written in the style of like somebody who worked at a sex shop and they're age 55.
If you have to use that many words to elevator pitch what you're doing it wrong.
That's just to pitch the normal one.
I will say this, though. That is a fairly good encompassing pitch of the Greasy Strangler.
Right. I think that encompasses the feel of that movie. But what if it was a serious one where some guy was getting all lubed up in a vat of grease and then going out and murdering people, and we did a serious take on that?
So you didn't commit to either side. You went both ways with it.
I did.
Okay. So you really copped out on this one.
I did the best I could.
All right. John, bring us home.
I will, but first question on this movie, The Greasy Strangler. Wouldn't being greasy make it harder to strangle somebody?
That's all part of his charm.
Ah, okay.
He's
okay.
that
I've never
skilled.
seen it.
His charm?
His charm and skill.
Skill in strangling.
Oh, wow.
All right. So I took this question in a different way, maybe the way you intended it. And I was thinking that I think the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise suffered when they tried to do more comedic entries. And whenever they stuck to straight horror, they did a much better job at making films.
That's interesting because we saw this movie. We have a guest today, and we'll introduce her in just a moment. But we saw this movie at Draft House, and beforehand, they actually had like little interviews with the director. And he said the next thing he'd like to take a crack at would be the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Based off what he did in this film, he might take it in more serious, kind of like horrific aspect.
You saying Lee Cronin, the director of the film?
Yeah, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
That guy.
Well, John, are you saying you don't want to see any quips, any jokes? Are you trying to like strike that from the record entirely? Like no more primetime bitch?
No, I think that was like the perfect balance. But like, I think
anything past that.
Yeah, once he really just starts thinking about Freddy's Dead, like where he's on the broom and shit, just like all of that.
About that.
Yeah, don't worry, you're not missing much. Like all of that kind of stuff, just so over the top and silly.
You want to get rid of the Power Glove?
Definitely get rid of the Power Glove.
But it's so iconic now.
I don't think that it is.
Not in a good way.
Okay.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Okay, as we said, we have a guest this time.
Hello.
Oh, see, right there.
I do exist.
Beating us to it. New to the podcast.
Yes.
We have Bunny Voodoo from Blood Over Texas here in Austin, and she is here to talk with us about Evil Dead Rise. So,
yes.
Is there a franchise that you think needs to go in a more horror or a more comedic direction?
Well, I was not prepared to answer this question, but right off the bat, I think The Omen would be good as a comedy. You know, like a crazy kid shaking stuff up, killing people that come in the house.
Like a problem child situation?
Yeah.
Dennis the Menace, but
Yeah,
he's a
Dennis the
demon.
Menace, Omen. I think
Damien
that'd
the
be pretty
Menace.
Oh, see, it works. That's great.
There we go. Okay, actually, I could see that. Yeah, all right. I did a really poor job at this one, even though it was my question.
And you were chastising me?
Of course, I'm always going to chastise you, Mark, if I get the opportunity to.
Fine.
I really, really love the Halloween series, and they've always tried to be very serious. I mean, even when we get like H2O, it's still a very serious franchise. And I don't want to go in like a scary movie. I don't want a super slapstick kind of way, but I'd love a more like kind of Tucker and Dale, like legitimate, like unstoppable slasher flick. So I thought the Halloween franchise might be a good, interesting way to kind of go with it, especially with the new trilogy. Very serious, very dark. To take that in kind of a fun, lighthearted, maybe bring Paul Rudd's character back, but this time it's a little more comedy.
And when they grind up Michael Myers, they make him into a sausage.
A fine sausage.
And
if
they
you
all
will.
eat him with a little bit of sauerkraut. Really, he's gone for good this time. We promise.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. Maybe the evil
Nothing
transfers.
can stop Michael Myers.
Well, that's pretty good. I just wanted to mention that there is a comedy Omen movie called Little Evil starring our mascot, Adam Scott.
Adam Scott? Really?
nice.
Yep, he's the stepdad of the devil, or the Antichrist in this movie. So,
What?
2017. So
I'm sure every stepfather out there can really feel that movie.
And stepmoms. Let's not leave them out.
True.
that's true. It's on Netflix. Go check it out. It was pretty good. Hey, all you creatures from cyberspace. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the GraveTalk podcast. My name is Mark. Again, joined with John and Garrett and special guest, Bunny Voodoo. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, now, as is tradition,
Yes.
any guests we have on here to become part of the alumni of our guest hosts.
Guests that we have on here to become part of the alumni guest.
Yes, there's a way to phrase that.
I love
better.
this word salad. I hope it's as tasty as it sounds.
You gotta take the monster test. I hope you studied. I'm sure you've been prepared your whole life for
Totally.
this.
Totally. Yes. I'm
Okay,
ready.
here we go. Question number 1. What are 2 ways to kill a vampire?
Can I pick my favorite ways?
Okay.
Well, it depends on the series, but I'm going to just go with the traditional vampire lore. I love the sun. I like seeing them burn.
Yes.
That's fun. And the cross. A good stab with a cross
Okay.
to be dramatic.
Question number 2. Is Frankenstein the name of the guy or the monster?
It's the scientist.
This is literally the wording from the movie Monster Squad, so that's
okay.
how they phrased it.
Okay.
So the looks you're flashing, Mark, right now are totally apt, but it's not his fault.
That's true. What are 2 ways to kill a werewolf?
With a silver bullet and, I don't know, cut his head off.
Question 4. There is only one right answer.
Okay.
You know, many
This make me
many
nervous.
people got it wrong. Frankenberry, Blueberry, or Count Chocula?
Count Chocula.
Boom.
Thank you.
Suck it, Mark.
People continue to get that one wrong. Okay, here we go. All right. This is a rapid fire portion of the
Okay.
test. Remake, reboot, or original? Which one's better? Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Original.
Correct.
Wrong.
Hellraiser.
Original.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that,
yeah. Dawn of the Dead.
Remake.
I agree with that. Friday the 13th.
I'm going to go with the original just because
Okay.
I'm an 80s kid. I got to pick the original.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm going to go with the original.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
You see
the
where,
right
see where
answer.
this is
Yeah,
going?
good
Yeah. See where this is going?
The Blob.
God,
Oh,
you
the
have got
remake.
this weird little hard-on for the Blob right now.
You hush. We'll talk about that movie later.
The remake.
I like that answer. And Fright Night.
Original.
Correct. 3 more to go. The Hills Have Eyes.
The remake.
I think I agree with you on that too.
Yeah.
Willard. The rat movie.
Willard.
Willard?
You know, I don't remember the remake, so I'm going to say the original. Feel like I saw it, but I can't remember.
Can we check Mark's letterbox and see if he watched these movies recently?
Yeah, I
this
don't-
might just be like a on top
No,
of his head.
I've
type
seen all
situation.
these movies.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
And lastly, Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2013.
All right, this is very hard. I want to say the original because it couldn't have come from anything but the original, but the remake.
Okay. Well, 2 other people in this room agree with you, so
Two
you
thumbs
passed.
up.
All right. Well, thank you for humoring us and doing our monster test with us. You're now an official guest on the GraveTalk podcast.
I am currently bowing. Thank
Have we
you.
kicked anybody off for not passing the? Have we ever kicked anybody off for not passing the test properly?
No, it's just more of a show.
Ceremonial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it.
Ridicule, maybe.
Okay.
Any ridicule?
We haven't had to do that yet. No. We've got
The
at
moment
least
someone says booberry, yes, we will.
Yeah, yeah.
get out of here with that garbage. I would also accept Yummy Mummy. I would actually give you points, extra bonus points if you throw out that one. Or what is the wolf one? Fruit Brute.
Oh,
Listeners,
wow.
Stay tuned for Mark's mini episode where he basically just talks about Halloween cereals.
No, it's my new podcast. It's me called General Mill, and I'm going to be Mr. Mill.
Ooh. I'll tell you, Mark, just give it up, man. Count Chocula's like 15-0.
Yeah.
Someday, Frankenberry will get his due. All right, well, gentlemen and lady, what have we been up to since last time? Just in general.
Well, John, have you watched anything or have you not watched anything as per usual?
Oh, I've watched quite a bit. I've watched every single Children of the Corn film.
Oh, God.
Oh,
and
please tell me you're doing a mini episode.
I
on this.
am.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, I have to
He's
get
doing the Lord's work for
I got to
us.
get something out from having subjected myself to that.
Well, please set the scene. Did you sit down with a giant bowl of candy corn,
or popcorn.
No.
pour up your favorite glass of corn syrupy soda, put on your corn hat?
Yeah, I definitely did
corn
that.
hat.
Yes, I'm
Smoked
sure.
my corn cob pipe. Yeah, everything. All the corn. I watched it over many weeks because you cannot subject yourself to more than one of these or two of these a day.
That would be torture.
It is. Spoiler for the mini, but every one of these is worse than the one before. It never gets better. So, you have that going for you.
All right. Well, looking forward to that mini because I'm never going to watch that
Yeah.
whole franchise. So thank you for taking one for the team.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Garrett, what about you?
I have just basically been working on projects, getting a few things set up. I did watch recently, I burned through a couple of horror films on Shudder. Oh, no. You know what I did watch? I watched Silver Bullet. That one I do want to talk about.
The werewolf
Silver Bullet,
movie
The
you
werewolf
told us
movie
about.
starring Gary Busey. It's a Stephen King inspired story. It's totally 80s. It is... Man, it's bananas. Balls to the wall. It's got Corey Haim in a wheelchair, which turns into like a rocket-powered scooter situation.
There's nothing bad about what you just said. That all
Yeah,
sounds
an
amazing.
synth soundtrack. You had a montage scene where they smelt a silver bullet. We usually skip that part in movies, and I'm glad we actually got it this time.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, the bullets come pre-made normally, but not in this movie. You're
No.
saying. I love it.
But other than that, just kind of the same old, same old.
I watched a movie called Dash Cam from 2021. It's about some gal who makes music in her car as she drives around, and she's like a MAGA anti-vaxxer, and it's all like a found footage.
So
film.
she's relatable
Yeah.
and a cool character.
Oh, it was perfect. Yes, I was
Okay.
so I
Never
loved
with
it.
her.
Yes.
wanted someone to die more in a movie.
I watched this movie because the guy who's doing the Boogeyman did this one. So I was like, I haven't seen any of his work yet, so I want to kind of look at some of the things he's done prior. There was some good moments in Dash Cam. I'm not going to lie. There's some moments where she's driving in her car, she's oblivious to what's happening, and there's just demons like chasing her down, and she's oblivious, and it jumps through her trunk and starts working its way through like the foldable seats and stuff. Like, it's not without its merit,
Yeah.
but my biggest problem is the character. I just can't identify with an anti-vaxxer MAGA person.
I would be interested to see a character that I straight up just can't relate to, because so often they try to make a movie that you relate to and you understand. I mean, Evil Dead Rise is a good movie of characters I could not relate to at all. But
but-
so it'd be interesting to have that complete opposite. Would I accept them knowing that there's nothing about them that I'm supposed to relate
There's
to
a
and
whole
like?
scene where she goes into a restaurant and refuses to put a mask on and gets thrown out for making a scene. It's to
Wow.
the T.
And this person's just so unlikable. I'm sure it's part of the premise of this movie. She's just the worst. She's just the worst beyond her belief. Her beliefs, her actions. She ruined some other guy's car.
She steals his car,
Yeah.
and then she's going to steal food because he's a food delivery driver. Who's she going to pick up the food and just eat it
you
herself?
guys are talking to me
Wow.
as if you're trying to berate me into being okay with this. I'm fine with it. I'm just saying does a movie at any point actually make you feel for the main character?
No, not me anyway.
Really, not even with the stuff that happens to her or anything.
And she doesn't die?
we going to spoil that?
Sorry.
Don't remember.
I think
You don't even remember?
I actually don't think she does. I think
No,
she
I think
crawls.
she makes it out at the end there.
And like didn't learn, of course, traditional as these people
Did
do.
she get woke because of the demons?
No, she didn't learn a single thing from this.
You know why I can't remember is because the entire credits is her driving around in the car rapping the names of everybody in the movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got an end movie rap?
This person is apparently an actual musician who does this stuff.
I'm going to have to watch this because you know I got to support any end movie rap.
Okay, well, I think it was on Shudder.
That's where I saw it.
Yeah, so it may still be there. So go check that out if you're interested. Again, I was getting ready for the Boogeyman. I want to see what this guy's done.
Now, Bunny Voodoo, we know you get into all sorts of stuff here in Austin. Tell us what you've been up to and what you got going on.
Just planning events, staying busy, doing art, working on a new project, which I can't tell you guys
Oh, top secret.
about yet.
What kind of events?
So we do horror events here in Austin. We have a real big one that comes up in December called Horror for the Holidays, which is all horror and dark artists. We have an Evil Santa and a
Your
Krampus
boy
parade.
Garrett was at that last year.
Yes.
So shout out to everyone who came out and showed love and support.
It's awesome. That one's getting ready to rev up in June, so I'm getting ready for that. But we also do Slash Dance, which is a retro dance party with all the slashers there, Freddy and Jason and Leatherface, so you can dance with them and take pictures with them.
What if you don't know how to dance? Is that a deal breaker?
They don't either, so
Okay,
it's
okay,
fine.
cool.
Yeah, you can just
The horror
wiggle.
community, we're accepting of all walks.
We
and
are,
styles.
definitely, yeah.
Very true.
And then Fright Gallery is the other one that I'm trying to plan, and that one's just true to my heart because I am an artist, so it features local horror artists, and it's like a regular art gallery but cooler.
That is Blood Over Texas.
Yes.
I believe that is the handle that you have on Instagram, Twitter,
Yes.
Facebook, all that stuff. Definitely check that out. Blood Over Texas. It's a really cool, group of people that get stuff done. I know you spearhead almost all that. I know it's so much work, but definitely check it out. If you're in the area, stop by, go to some of these events. They're pretty awesome.
Thanks. We try really hard. We do
thank
it all
you.
for the love of horror.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now we're here to talk about what? You got something?
I was just gonna say thank you as well. Join in the accolades and praise.
know.
Yeah, great gratitude.
Can we
show
all
gratitude.
pat each other on the back? That's,
No, I'm only patting the guest. Y'all are forced to be here, so
John, pat me on the back.
okay.
All right, thank you.
I hope that picked up on Mike. Mark, what are we here to do today, though?
We're here to talk about Evil Dead Rise 2023, the movie that was originally supposed to go straight to streaming but ended up in the theater.
Do we need to put the 2023 on it when there's no other movie called Evil Dead Rise?
Yes,
Okay.
for precedent. Okay, we
Yeah.
do that for everything else. It's sticking to this as well.
And also could be in the future. There's no other movie
That's
yet.
true. You're pre-planning.
Yeah, 2060 when they do the remakes, we're already
If we're
ready.
still doing this podcast in 2060,
Yeah.
we've made mistakes.
We're in Shady Brooks retirement home, just in the community room doing our podcast.
I like to think we're all going to end up in the same retirement home.
When I die, you're all getting buried with me. So just know now.
Wrap it up. I want to go get pudding. Come on.
Love pudding.
Who doesn't love pudding, John? Well, we all separately watched this movie. I took to my normal stomping grounds, the Tech Ridge AMC movie theater, and I was the only one in the theater. I was like, man, this either nobody wants to see this movie or this bad weather that just flew in is keeping everybody at home. Or what I think happened is there was a glitch in the ticketing system.
Yes. This
Yeah.
is what it is. Because you sent the link to John right away, and he couldn't. It said it was sold out like minutes later,
Yeah,
right?
I tried to buy a ticket like 20 minutes later, and it was like, sorry, theater's sold out.
But my blessing ended up being a curse. Because about 40 minutes into the movie, after sitting through 20 minutes of freaking previews, that's a whole other thing that we need to talk about someday. They need to calm down with them previews. Everybody watches them online anyway. They tell us when the dang things drop.
You know what, Mark? You know who doesn't have this problem of 40 minutes of commercials and
Oh,
previews?
hush.
Alamo Draft House.
Look.
Well, Mark, the thing is, the trailers wouldn't be so bad. It's the commercials for movie theaters when you're already in the movie theater that I don't need. I'm already here. You won.
know who doesn't have those? Alamo Draft House.
John, are you saying you're tired of seeing Nicole Kidman say things like, somehow sadness feels good in a place like this?
Yeah, I could. If I
What?
never hear anything like that again, I'm already at the theater. Stop
Well,
it.
Look, Cinemark shows you straight up AT&T ads.
That's true.
So they can get-
Cinemark
You
can
know
get.
who Nicole Kidman doesn't work with? Alamo Draft House. No, I'm just
Look,
kidding.
if
She
there were,
might.
if where I lived had one in driving distance, I would go there.
Okay.
But my best choice
So
is either
you were at the AMC theater.
Yeah, so
40
about-
minutes into the movie.
right at whenever our main demon mother is cooking up some eggs, boom, power went out. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I could hear the rain going on. I was like, oh, shit, it's really coming down. About 2-3 minutes later, this employee comes in. He's like, everyone. And I was like, it's just me. He's like, oh. I was like, hey, we're going to turn it back on in about 5 minutes. So just, hang out. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Thank you, though. So after about 10 minutes, I wander outside to report that their fire escape is just pouring water through the top of the door. I was like, it's literally getting soaked back here. You guys might want to take a look at this. She's like, oh, well, thank you. I'll tell somebody and you can go get a free pass over there. I was like, I don't need a free pass. Y'all are turning the movie on, right? She's like, no, we're actually shutting the whole theater down. I'm like, oh,
wow,
great. So I had to go outside and brave the storm. I got completely drenched. Took me like 25 minutes to get home in the floodwaters. And when I got home and dried off, I looked up another movie and raced over to a Cinemark, got there, watched another 20 minutes of previews, and then got to watch the movie. So it was a kind of an adventure. I'll never forget this movie. So, did we enjoy this movie? I mean, I put a lot of effort into seeing it.
Let's star rate it. Let's just get into it.
Breaking precedent. I love it. I'll go first. Okay, everyone's looking at me. 4.5 stars. Love it. I love that movie.
4.5 stars.
Yeah, it was dope. Hella good.
Okay, interesting.
Really, really liked it.
I also gave it 4.5 stars.
Okay.
I'm also probably the biggest Evil Dad. Evil Dad? Evil Dad. I'm also probably the biggest Evil Dead fan at the table, unless you may outclass me here. I don't know. Don't want to assume.
What's the star rating?
Out of 5.
1 out. Okay, I thought it was going to be 10.
We do 5s here.
I know.
I'm going to give it a 3.
I went with 3.5.
All right.
While I did enjoy the movie, I have some real issues with this script.
Okay, I'd like to know what those are.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Don't you worry, Mark.
That's usually what we do here.
All right, podcast is over. Well, great. Nice to
And
have
we're done.
everybody.
So it sounds like for the most part, though, overwhelmingly, we all enjoyed it to some degree.
I think there was a lot to like here. First off, I was very happy to see them take the Evil Dead idea out of the cabin and out of the woods. And now this did still have a cabin. So,
In the woods.
Yeah.
I thought the effects were great. The characters were fine. I mean, whatever. I really liked that they introduced.
fine, whatever.
Well, I mean, the core group is great, but then they introduced all these like jobbers, these other folks that just all died in like a weird John Wick type scene where she just takes them all out instantly.
I was a little bummed we didn't get more from the neighbors.
Yes.
I was hoping we get a little bit more. They were the most interesting characters in this movie to me.
Really?
Really? Yeah.
They hardly show them at all.
They're like 5 minutes of screen.
Like those characters, I was like, oh, I can get down with what these guys are about or what's going on with these characters. You get the nice neighbor, you got the like kind of maybe cranky, old man kind of neighbor who just got his shit together. I was like, I'd like to see more from them.
You just headcanoned a lot of backstory that this movie did not provide.
Well,
but
that's
I
the
dig
vibe
it.
I got off them from the short interactions I had. I would like to have seen more and experience more of their lives.
Well, this is not the movie for
Nope.
that.
No, it
not
was
at all.
I think what we're hearing here is Garrett is not a family man and he doesn't care about kids. He said so on this podcast before.
I have a note on my thing that says kids are dumb.
Were you upset when this movie turned into Sigourney Weaver and Newt running around at the end?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I knew someone was going to bring that up because I thought that. I was like, God damn, here we go. It's aliens all over again.
As far as kids go, these kids weren't that bad though. They were much more less annoying than other teens in movies.
Hollywood, we often ask you to get at us.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not going to ask you to get at us. I'm going to call you out. Stop being pussies. Kill every kid in the movie.
They killed way more than they normally
Kill
do.
every kid in the movie. There was no reason for that little girl to survive. Every one of them should have gotten it.
She's scrappy. That's why. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
she's the Scrappy Doo of the human bunch.
Hell yeah.
Maybe you need to write a movie called Garrett's No Child Left Behind. And then you'll finally get your wish.
Yeah.
I thought they were brave for killing at least 2.
I know. I agree. I was like, oh, all 3 of these kids are walking out of here. So
Oh, you thought all 3 kids were getting out?
I did.
Oh, there's no way the kid who got the book. Well, let's get into the plot, but
I'll go into this reason right now because you brought it up. The John Wick scene I thought was completely unexpected because they introduced all these other characters who I thought would be the one-to-one pickoffs as we go through the movie. They got rid of them immediately, and then we killed the kids. And I was like, all right, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing. I didn't like the
And
way.
I usually don't celebrate kids dying, but in this moment, it was cool.
Yeah, I did. Maybe I wish we would have seen more of how she like cleared out some of them. I guess mostly the guy with the shotgun.
off-screen
But
stuff.
yeah.
I really thought leaving some of that up to the imagination was nice. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. I definitely had some issues with just like being able to relate to it. And also, you guys know I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan. So some of the fan service was a little bit crammed down my throat, and it really took me out of the moment. So that's why I had to knock it a little bit. But overall, it's a competent film. It was shot beautifully. I loved the color palette that they used for most of this movie. The shots in the rain were great. I mean, everything's really well done from a technical perspective. Again, Evil Dead's not my jam. So I kind of hit it in the middle.
I think it was hard for me because I adore the remake. So I was constantly trying to see what they did compared to that one. And so that was kind of hard for me to watch it. I think as a horror movie, it was good. All had good characters, good action, all that. I think the tie into the Evil Dead is where it kind of lost me. I didn't like the way I felt it to be was really purposeful. Everything they did was very purposeful. That was what I didn't like about it.
No.
It wasn't like a natural... Like
felt
everything
very
from the
formulaic.
family to the mom who's the tattoo artist to the cool kids. I mean, it bothered me.
Do you mean like how someone happens to be a guitar tech and that skill will come into play later when we need power or something
We
like
need
that?
to make electricity. Yeah.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
I can see how that seems a little, of course, this is why that character is what she is.
This movie was full of like Chekhov's everything. Every single thing
Yeah.
they mentioned in the script at some point, going like into the very first scene where they're like, "Oh, you almost decapitated me with that drone," like, and then like 3 minutes later, it's paid off.
It won't take your whole face off. You'll just have to go to the doctor or something like that,
It's
right?
just gonna mess it up, and it's like
Yeah.
hey, that is definitely the kind of movie that it is. I agree with that. There's no surprises here. It's gonna tell you what's gonna happen, and
Yeah.
then it happens.
And let me just go ahead and get this out of the way for our listeners. You're going to hear a lot of things said on this podcast today. And just for the record, if you or someone you know is a parent out there and you enjoy the company of children and you don't feel they should be slaughtered by a monster, or you're happy when someone finds out they're pregnant and you know the celebration of, you know, that joyous occasion, awesome. We love you. Thank you for listening. You're going to hear me say a lot of shit about people who should not fucking have kids in this episode, so I apologize in advance if that rubs you the wrong way.
You know
This
who?
guitar tech lady should not have kids. There's no way she should keep this fucking baby.
Well, guess what? She didn't mean to.
Yeah.
No, halfway through she's like, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna be a mom. It was like, after this traumatic experience, no. You are not mentally and emotionally in a place where you should deal with this. You just watched children and your sister be slaughtered. Number two, you already didn't know what to do with this situation. You keep saying how your life is a wreck. You don't have your shit together. You need someone to make these decisions for you. Do not bring another child into it. Then she's gonna adopt the fucking newt of the movie, and I'm like, no, you are not set up for this.
Look, an apartment full of demons made her grow up and become the
Exactly.
mother that you always needed, Garrett.
She's going straight to jail
I
anyway.
didn't need to watch a manslaughter of an entire like building for me to be like, you know what, I should keep this job. No, sometimes you just learn these lessons because you have to do it.
Just imagine what's going to happen in a few hours when people find out that like 10 people were just murdered and she's the only survivor, and her cover story is a record unleashed a demon, which, so she's going right to jail anyway. So, this is kind of a moot point.
Now, I do have a question about this, Mark, because we briefly kind of mentioned it today in passing. Is this movie connected to the same world as the Evil Dead remake in 2013? Was it?
I didn't see anything that would indicate that, but there was an in-movie nod that makes me think maybe that's where they're going.
Well, there was nods to almost every movie in the franchise, almost.
Well, I'm not
but-
talking about like, hey, the character said the line from the other movie. I'm saying there sounds like there could be an in-universe tie-in that says these could all be in the same place. And we'll get into that in a little bit.
The book looked really different than
It
their
definitely
book.
did.
So that's I think that's what you're talking about,
Yes.
right, Mark?
Okay. So there's a reason for that.
Potentially.
Maybe. Yeah.
Potentially.
Mark's got some info on it, but
But first, let's get into the details. This was directed by Lee Cronin, also written by the same man. If you don't recognize his name, he is the one that did The Hole in the Ground from 2019, which I've been meaning to see. I think it's a doppelganger story, but don't quote me on that.
hey, this movie had a hole in the ground too.
That's
Do you
true.
think it's a nod to his previous film?
Every movie he will do from now on will include a hole.
Because one of our characters yells out, "Hey, there's a hole over here," and I was like, "Bravo!"
Wait, does he literally say,
Bravo.
"There's a hole in the ground,"
I think he
think he
does.
might.
and
I
then
think
look at
he
the
does.
camera and go, "Get
I
it?"
don't know if he winks, but I think he says there's a hole in the ground over here.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this now
All
just
right.
for that.
You've seen that part twice, so
I
if you
know.
don't know.
I know. Shoot, I wasn't looking that close. This one stars Mirabai Pease as Teresa, Richard Crouchley as Caleb, Anna Marie Thomas as Jessica, Lily Sullivan as Beth, Noah Paul as Bruce, Elisa Sutherland as Ellie or Elle, that's the demon mother, Gabriel Eccles as Bridget, Morgan Davies as Danny, Neil Fisher as Cassie, and that's probably all we need to know. So currently on Rotten Tomatoes, we're at an 84% with the critics and an 86% with the audience.
So I feel like that's actually pretty close to what it should be.
It's still certified fresh. This was on a $15 million budget. Like I said originally, I think it was going to go straight to HBO Max, but then they started to restructure everything to come back to the theaters, decided to hold it, and released it there. But Bruce Campbell did recently say that he expects to see more Evil Dead more frequently. So instead of waiting every 10 years for another movie, every 2 to 3 is what they're shooting for.
We're going to
now.
start screaming this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sounds like too much Evil Dead, if I'm being honest. I like that it's kind of an event. Maybe every decade is a bit much, but I don't want it to be like, oh, it's Paranormal Activity 12, you know?
I do feel that this cash machine that we have to do a yearly entry is, I think it does really hurt some of these franchises quite a bit.
Because these movies are so intense. Like, dude, I don't know if I want to watch this every single year.
I love the intensity of it, but I mean,
Well, what
how
about
different
every
can you
3
make
years?
Yeah, that'd be all right.
How different can you make the story? It's like The Purge.
That
Every
too.
fucking year,
Yeah.
you're getting the same thing. Hey, tonight you can purge shit up. You know,
Well, they got unlimited, right? We just did apartment building. We got cruise ship, spaceship,
I swear to God, if you
mall.
take Evil Dead into space, I'm so done with you.
we can have a demon daddy. We can have a
Yeah.
demon cook. We can have a demon
Who
clown.
doesn't want a demon daddy?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Restaurant, that's great. Evil Dead restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many
Hey,
options.
What's the name of that movie, John?
Oh, I think you got something that I don't have.
It's something with 4 stars. Evil Dead Michelin or
Yeah,
something.
we'll come back to you, audience. If you can think of a good one for the Evil Dead restaurant movie, let us know.
This is the IMDb synopsis of the movie. There's no back of the box. A twisted tale of 2 estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. It's a lot of words.
Okay. I mean, it was
Yeah,
all
that-
right in the beginning, and then it kind of petered off there. But
That didn't sound like the same movie. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, anyway, I don't know who writes the IMDb stuff, but do better.
Tony's crying in the corner right now. They didn't like it.
That was my first one. I'm getting roasted already. All right. Well, how does this one kick off?
This one kicks off in the woods, actually, with the standard Evil Dead cam where you kind of go through the
The
woods.
ground shot.
We got the
Yeah.
POV, like it's
Yeah.
supposed to be the Kandarian demon zipping through the woods.
Is that what it was? I know
Yeah.
we had these in like every Evil Dead movie. I know it's not monster cam, which we get in this movie.
Demon wind.
Okay.
Something like that.
So yeah, we get that. We basically end up like going to this cabin in the woods, and you think, okay, here we go again. All right. But no, so basically this girl's out on the dock reading her book, just trying to enjoy her afternoon, and then some asshole douchebag zips out of the woods with a little drone, and you realize that the whole camera view is a drone with a GoPro or some shit on it, and you're just like, oh boy, here we go. It's going to get meta. He's a real dickhead. She goes inside to talk to her friend who's the girlfriend of this
I guess
guy.
the girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
he drugged with Klonopin and was like, I just needed her to take a nap or some shit.
Oh, that's right. He said like she should sleep through all this stuff like that.
Yeah, he's just the worst boyfriend.
It was also supposed to be some sort of birthday party, and nobody else showed up except for her cousin that she picked up.
Look, as someone who recently had an art show and no one showed up, I get it. I fucking get it.
Do you need a Klonopin?
Yep, I need a lot more than that. I need the heaviest drugs we can find. Stat. But no, so he's being a real douchebag. So the friend goes inside and sees the passed out friend, and she's like, look, let me borrow your car. Let me get the fuck out of here. I'm done with this whole vacation.
Well, the girl's passed out as far as she knows, so she's just talking out loud. It's like, I want to take your car. This really sucks. I'd like to leave. And then she sits down and starts reading Wuthering Heights. And then all of a sudden, it pans to the girl that's on the bed. She's sitting upright, facing the wall, away from her cousin, and she's reading the book.
She's reciting what the person is reading in the book at the same
Word
exact
for
time.
word off the page.
And oh no, that's so weird.
I mean, it is.
It is.
Yeah, that's really
Well,
weird.
it's a nod back to the original where she's reading the cards.
Oh.
Remember where she
okay.
starts reading the cards, you know, red hearts. They're playing cards. And so she starts picking up the cards, and then they don't know that their friend is possessed, and
She's
then her
saying
friend
what
starts
they're-
calling them.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
really cool.
that,
You're right. Yeah, I forgot about
Thank
that.
you. No.
And in classic Evil Dead fashion, she makes some weird, demon voicey stuff, falls on the floor. Her friend goes to see if she's okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, everyone who vomits in this movie is either vomiting blood or cum, right? This is semen. Because it's like weird, clear, white.
I just thought it was like bile. I did not jump to semen, but maybe.
I did not catch that either.
Okay, because doesn't in the previous movies, doesn't the demon Wynn kind of like rape these people and stuff like that? And they're all very sexual about it and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I
but there
figured
was
it's-
no semen.
white,
No demon
foamy
semen.
Okay, well, I don't know.
substance.
I was like, that's a lot of white liquid coming out.
Usually-
as someone who's puked up bile before, usually it's clear.
It's usually
very clear.
It's usually plants doing the penetration.
Yeah.
Probably not
Look, I don't wanna
producing
get into
any.
the whole like
Should we really get into the weeds
the
here?
detail and the science of plant rape.
The weeds.
I think it's demonic bile, so it's going to look completely
Okay,
different.
all right.
Yeah.
I got a very different look of it. And I was like, wow, this is because again, the demons are always so sexual with these people. So I was like, is this some kind of weird demon sex thing?
So you're just watching it going, yeesh, that's a lot of cum.
Yes, I did actually when I saw this scene. Anyway, she pukes up all over the place in some weird quote unquote white unnamed liquid, and her friend's like, "What the fuck?" And then boom, she sits up, and this is our first we're what 5 minutes into this movie, and her friend grabs her side ponytail or whatever the hell it is, and then just rips it off her head.
Yeah. And says something to the effect of, who's the meat sack now? Because the cousin was making fun of her while she was passed out. We get to see the douchey boyfriend taking a piss off the pier, and he turns around and screams, and it's our scalped gal wandering out.
Scalped gal.
Probably going to beg for help, but she can't talk. I mean, I guess it might be hard. I didn't know how fast you die when you get scalped. I'm not very familiar with
bone
it.
is there, so it protects
Yeah.
your brain and stuff like that. But you're bleeding out and get infected really bad. I
Yeah.
imagine the shock has got to be insane. But
I don't think it's inherently fatal, though. Like, right off the bat, you'd probably be around for a while painfully. It'd be hurt, though,
Yeah.
so much. Oh, my God.
you could put a wig on it and be okay.
You could you?
Oof.
Maury's wigs don't come off, even underwater.
So she's just in shock without hair. As
Without a head, without a scalp.
yeah, I know.
Without hair.
However you describe that.
Scalpless?
There you go.
Scalpless.
Thank you.
Scalped, if you will.
Scalp, yes.
And then from out behind comes running the demon possessed gal, and she runs up and grabs the drone, looks at everybody, is like, hey, and then jams it in her face, and boy, does that just blast her straight into the water.
Did you think that she was going to cut the boyfriend? With
I
the
did.
drone?
Yeah.
I thought she was going to
did
go
too.
after one of them, yeah.
Yeah. But she takes it to the face, jumps in the water, and there is like blood pool.
And the boyfriend dives in after her to save her, and you see even more blood, and then his head gets thrown out of the water and onto the dock.
It's still twitching.
We
I thought it was
asked this
nice.
question a lot at the podcast, and I have to know. And Bunny, we're going to leave you out of this one just because I don't want to put you on the spot just
Okay.
yet. But these guys have been through this question many a times. Say your significant other.
No.
Okay, then we have our answer.
Yeah,
there. Okay.
definite no. Yeah, what the fuck?
If your wife jams herself in the face with a drone and like cackles in a demonic way and then
Yeah.
jumps into a pool
After scalping somebody. That's the main key, actually. Like,
Okay,
the
true.
scalping, yeah.
because no one scalps themselves for fun.
I'm
No.
going to throw one of those little what are they, donut things?
Lifesavers?
Yeah.
Lifesavers,
Yeah.
or maybe go get the pool net and try to scoop her.
Emotional support. You got this, babe.
Swim harder.
And then what I thought was an incredible scene, she lifts up out of the water like she's Jesus and floats above the water. And then the title comes up from behind the trees in the background. I loved it.
That was
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
I thought it was great.
But let me ask you a question about your theater experience because ours, I don't know if it was just our theater experience, but was the sound
Oh
not
my God.
oppressively loud? The soundtrack in
Yes.
this movie was so loud.
Ear piercingly loud.
Yeah, it hurt my ears. So I was like, am I getting old? But it's good to know.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, oh my God, I'm old now. It hurts my ears.
I didn't notice. I was just like, yeah, that's right. Because I was all by myself. We cut to, I guess, to be a Thailand club, right? Because they mentioned they went to
Let's be
Bangkok.
specific what kind of Thailand club we're talking about here.
Oh, fair. A normal rock club, I would
Yes.
assume.
Yeah.
Yes.
We meet Beth, who's sitting on the toilet, and she's giving herself a pregnancy test.
Okay, I thought it was a COVID test at first because I didn't know
Same.
she was on the toilet. I thought it was a COVID test, and I was like, what a terrible place to do a COVID test.
Like, why isn't she jamming that in her nose?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
That's not how you test for COVID.
Right now, she is taking a pregnancy test on the raunchiest toilet in existence in this club bathroom.
I assume being a guitar tech, you're going to be used to this kind of
Absolutely.
environment.
Yeah,
you know?
no shame in that. You
She's
do what
not
you gotta
phased
do.
at all, so.
It also seems like a really weird place to take a pregnancy test at work
Yes.
on the job.
Yeah.
In a bathroom such as this.
She's still
Do it
going
at
to
the
be
hotel.
pregnant or not pregnant in a few hours. She could probably take care of that later.
Oh, this comes in one of my questions later on of how pregnant do you have to be before you start feeling kicks and stuff in your stomach? Because she takes that pregnancy test like, oh man, I guess I'm pregnant. Like she hasn't experienced
yeah.
any symptoms yet. But the moment she gets back to her sister's house, she's like, it's kicking. I'm like, what the fuck?
Look, I don't claim to know anything or anything
We don't know nothing about birth and no babies.
pregnancies or any of that stuff, but I thought it was like maybe she was already getting the morning sicknesses or something, so maybe she suspected.
But it was evening. How
It
does
didn't
that-
make sense.
No, it's she's probably like only a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
or
it
maybe
didn't
a
make
few
sense,
months
yeah.
tops. So
Yeah. I thought it was kicking because she goes, like bends over. I was like, wow. Is this like a super baby? I thought the baby was possessed. I thought she was related to the cabin people already, and we had a possessed baby situation.
I did think at one point we were going to have some kind of demon baby,
yeah.
but that didn't happen.
No, maybe she just really had a poo.
Gassy? Yeah, gassy. Pregnancy gas?
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
a thing?
Maybe.
I mean, I don't think any of us here have had babies, so
No.
No.
We immediately cut to the other side of the world at an apartment complex. I don't know what city they were in, but like New York or something. right?
Detroit, home of RoboCop.
I hope.
It felt that way.
Axel Foley.
Yeah. We're introduced to a family. We've got 3 children, 1 boy, 2 girls. The youngest being the daughter of like, say, 7?
Yeah, I'll maybe say like eight or
yeah,
9.
I'd say
8 or 9,
8.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The girl's busy cutting the head of a doll off with a pair of scissors.
The youngest girl, yes.
Yeah.
Bridget is the one with the Katie Lang haircut.
Right.
Yeah.
She's busy making protest signs. She's
Yeah.
getting ready to go protest.
Global warming.
Global warming,
Everyone
yeah.
in this family has
Yeah.
got some shit going on.
Her poster said "Make Earth Cool Again," and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm into that."
That was
poster.
clever. Yeah. I dug it.
The oldest one is the boy. He gets to drive in the movie.
Yes, correct.
His name's Danny. He's like into DJ shit. So he's in his room just like blasting music while the mother's working on a tattoo gun, I think.
Yes, she
Imagine
is.
how pissed you'd be if you lived in that kid's apartment building and he was blaring music with those giant speakers.
Headcanon.
Okay.
The building's basically cleared out.
Can't be because we know they have downstairs
It's
people.
like 8 people.
But the lady who lives downstairs.
Or maybe the neighbors are groupies of Danny.
Oh, that could be it. All right, I like that headcanon.
The gal downstairs is the girl on Klonopin, so she's
Fair.
probably not paying attention to much.
True.
And then our youngest is Cassie. She reminded me of the meme girl who's giving you the what the fuck look.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
You know that meme?
Yeah.
So picture that, listeners.
Bridget's probably like 15, 16
Yeah.
or something like that. And then Danny's probably 16, 17.
Yeah.
And the mom is, as we said, a tattoo artist. I had opinions on her tattoos. I know you had
Ooh,
opinions
I had a
on her
very
tattoos.
strong opinion.
What are they?
Her tattoos sucked. For being like a tattoo artist, like they were like finely drawn, like little sketchy. Every mom I know that has tattoos has, and as a tattoo artist, has first of all over her body mostly,
Yeah.
or like at least the arms. But they're pretty decent, thick tattoos, and hers were just they look like the ones the tattoos that you lick and you stick to your skin. That's what it looked like to me. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Okay, well, Evil Dead Rise, get your tattoo shit together.
Yeah, no kidding. Maybe she heard not to get high on your own supply, and she thought that meant applied to tattoos as well. They live in a very, very nice like apartment for the building that they're in. I mean, it's got some problems. We're told it's being condemned or sold, and it's basically going to be like redone. The elevator's kind of janky. Electricity. The standard stuff for an older city building.
I think the apartment has some good character to it, though.
It gave me a real Ghostbusters feel.
Since we saw it at the Alamo Draft House, they have interviews before the movie, and the director was saying that he was inspired by Rosemary's Baby, and that's kind of where the building came from.
I could see that. All right, that's cool.
And out of nowhere, bada bing, bada boom, the sister shows up from Thailand, and she scares the mom, and she gets punched in the face, which I love that because
Yes.
as someone who hates being scared by jump scares, don't ever jump off me. You might get tapped in the face.
Yeah, that's fair. If you ring someone's doorbell and then spook them, don't do that. That's just bad. That's bad.
So through this like interaction of everyone kind of coming back, we realize that the husband of the mom has left. And then the sister, Beth, right? Is that what it is? Beth is like, oh, if only I had known, I would have totally been here. And the sister's like, I called you like months ago and let you know. So the mom sends the kids out to go get pizza. And she's like, oh, I wish I would have. You kind of tell that she's kind of full of shit. Beth
Definitely.
is.
Who doesn't check their phone for 2 months? She was on a flight. She was just sitting in an
Now, do we
airport
know
for a
if
while.
she listened to the message before and just didn't want to call back, or do you think that she is just now getting around to actually testing it? Because I got the feeling that she's one of those people that's got her own shit always going on, so she doesn't have time to deal with anyone else's shit. So even if she knows about it, she's going to be like, "That's your problem. I got my own crap."
She made it seem
Yeah.
like when she plays the message on film, that's the first time she's hearing it.
That's the way it kind of played. I just wondered if that's what you guys.
That's
got.
what I got from it. And then I was like, who doesn't check their voicemails? And then I was like, all right, Mark has like 7 million emails just sitting on his phone. So
Okay, calm down. 3,342. Okay, leave me alone.
So we kind of had this moment where she's like, "Okay, you're right. I'm not a great sister," and then immediately turns it and is like, "Hey, I have a problem." And the other sister, what's the main mom's name?
Elle or Ellie.
Okay, Ellie. She was like, "What else is new?" And we get this real. I mean, this is the part I related to the most. I really felt for these characters' dynamic because I was like, "Wow, this is kind of a dysfunctional but kind of manageable situation." But this is where we find out she's pregnant. She doesn't know what to do. And right as that happens,
But she doesn't even tell the
she
sister.
doesn't say she doesn't
That's
tell
not
her yet.
revealed to anybody.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought she told the sister. Oh, she
No.
said, "I have a problem that I need help
Only
with."
the line later, which you're probably going to talk
So
about.
originally, Elle, the older sister, is annoyed with her younger sister not listening to the voice messages or getting back to her. But she falls into the role of the big sister pretty quickly. She's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I wouldn't want to hear me anyways. I hate the sound of my own voice, so I get it.
She deflects with humor, which
she's already diffusing that little animosity that had built up. So the kids arrive back. They go into the apartment garage, and a tremor happens. 5.5 earthquake.
yeah, my questions was, do y'all think the book caused the earthquake, or is that just luck
that's
or
what I'm
bad luck?
saying.
I
Was it
guess?
just a situational thing, or was this actually part of like how the demons are like, "Ooh la la, now's our chance"?
Well, in the remake, at the end, the demon comes out of the ground, so that might have been sort of. The demons are underneath the ground. I don't know. I didn't think that when I saw it, though.
I kind of like the idea that it was just accidental because I feel like priests had hid this away on purpose.
Under an apartment building in a bank vault of a building that used to be a bank. How the fuck did they get access to the whole vault?
You see all these crosses, man? You think that book's got any power in the sight of Jesus with that giant wooden crucifix and 800 crosses?
We'll get to the vault in just a second, but yes, the kids, downstairs in the basement garage, drop the pizzas. They find a hole, and Danny, being the genius that he is, just walks into it.
So earlier, before they go to get the pizza, they're all sitting around the table, and Cassie has built a stick with a doll head on it called Staphany. And they had gotten in a little family
Spat.
or something, and it got snapped in half, and now it has a sharp point. It's important for later, like John said. Everything has a check
Yeah,
off.
that's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we can talk about that later when it pops up. But
No,
okay.
but what I'm trying to get to is they have a discussion about how
Ghosts in the
Danny
building.
had been telling her a ghost story about some banker that hung himself, and if you jingle coins in your pocket, he'll come and steal your money.
So that's even more reason to climb down a fucking hole in an oversized building after a earthquake has opened up this section.
I don't know, man. If I literally saw something like that and an easy way to get in, I might go down there.
Yeah, definitely as a teenager, man. Teenagers
Really?
are dumb. I say that as an ex-teenager. They're all dumb.
Well, we're
they
all
would-
technically ex-teenagers,
Yes, I know.
John. I hate to break it to you.
When I was in high school, we snuck into a condemned courthouse and spent the night there, and we went into the jail cells and closed all the doors
Yeah.
with people
Nice.
in it.
I broke into a old sanitarium. Then it was very dangerous, very stupid, and almost got arrested.
I did a bunch of dumb shit, but never anything that could eventually result in ghost or monster demons.
but they don't know that there's
I know, but I guess I was that kid. I was like, I'm not risking it.
I would have definitely jumped down there and been like, "What is all?" I don't know if that would have taken that creepy ass book, but I would have definitely looked around.
Look, we used to climb in a little sewer tunnel by my old apartment complex, and the moment it came on TV, oh, no, we didn't even fuck with the ditch no more. We were done with that. I mean, play it safe. Anyway, Danny goes into a hole. Okay,
I'm
And,
Team Danny's all I'm saying.
Anyway, so he goes in the hole and he's looking around and he starts just digging through what do they call them?
Safety deposit boxes.
Yeah, and he's not finding anything. But then he finds a big metal container, opens it up, and inside there's a bunch of letters, and he finds some records and a book.
Well, he is a DJ, but the book's not in there. The book is in a sarcophagus a little ways
God,
away.
you're
Yeah.
right. I totally forgot about that. He
Yeah.
finds these records and he throws them in his backpack, which I'll be honest, if I did find crazy, not very labeled records, I would take them. Because that same ditch I was just referring to, I found a copy of Beastie Boys' License to Ill, but the water had worn away the entire letters on it, so we didn't know what it was. So yeah, I'm with Danny on this one.
And without the internet, how long did it take for you to find out what it was?
So long until my aunt was like, "Oh, I love this album." And I was like, "Who is this? This is amazing." We were young kids too. We weren't listening to real music at that time. Yeah,
Good find. Good find. Not like these records.
Thanks, Ditch.
Yeah.
So anyway, he finds these records, throws them in his backpack. Jesus Christ, what is it? 1932. Jesus crucifix falls down, scares him.
Causes him to look over and see the sarcophagus that has all these rosaries sort of hanging from the ceiling over it. And he's like, "Well, this is pretty cool," which I also understand. And then there's
We
a
can
whole.
all agree this is like the most beautiful scene in the movie, right?
Yeah, I want to do that in my house.
It's
Yes.
very well
Yes.
shot.
You should make it the guest room just to really fuck with people.
Oh, yes, I'll do that.
There's a hole in the sarcophagus, and he looks in it, and there's not much in there except this creepy ass book that he's like, I should probably take this too.
So here's my question. If we want to believe that the book or the force behind the book broke open and made the earthquake occur, why did it take to right now to happen and not because it's been in there since 1923-ish?
Timing is everything, Mark. I have no idea.
So I like to think it was just a coincidence.
The only reason
I'm starting
I
to agree with you, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that way too now that I think through it. Because there's also in the news, like there's a news report about how the earthquake hit whatever area. So that'd be really powerful of the book.
And I know these demons are really fucky and get really crazy from time to time, but I don't think they're earthquake powerful, especially when they haven't been summoned yet.
This is
Yeah.
bad
Okay,
luck.
so we're just going to go with the whole, like, this is a coincidence that just happens to be the catalyst of this whole
Yes.
thing. Okay, cool. I think we're all on board for that. So Danny, being the genius he is, decides to take this death book.
Which covered in beetles or roaches or something. He just, oh my God, bugs in my face. That would freak me the hell out.
Yeah,
don't know
I
about
would
you.
leave.
I'd
I'd be
probably
like-
drop the book and run away.
Going in this hole, no dice. I'm not into it. Looking through abandoned, like, scary corridors and stuff, no way. If I found that Necronomicon, I would totally take that shit. It just looks too fucking cool not to take with you.
It is pretty cool. Now, this book looks different than it's ever looked before.
Yeah,
right?
each book has looked different.
So our original Necronomicon Ex Mortis has the face
Yeah.
on the front. The one from 2013 looks more like a fleshy stitch
Just
together.
like a Frankenstein style flesh book.
Right. And now this one is veiny and has teeth. If we're going to rate the Necronomicons,
Let's fucking get into it then.
all right, here we go. John.
Oh, can't remember any of them except the two that we just talked about. So this one I liked more than the 2013 one, and then the other ones I don't really remember.
Well, there's only one other one.
No, well then that one's number 3.
I'm going to say it was kind of weird because the clip reminded me of a banana clip that you put your hair up in.
Oh, the teeth?
Yeah, but I'm a girl, so maybe that's why I felt.
No, I
that
thought the
was
same
more-
thing.
I was like,
I totally see that.
Yeah.
Oh, every guy who's found one of those uses his monster teeth.
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
no one's not done that and been like, rah, 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 rah.
Okay, update. Mark has shown me the OG book, and I stand by my rankings.
Okay, all right.
I'm the Frankenstein stitch one,
So 2013.
and I like the face one, and this would be my least one.
Okay.
But I like the teeth. It's a nice touch.
I'm going with the face one is number 1. It's just so iconic. It's so creepy. I think at the time it looks a little bit more goofy than it would now, but I like the idea of the face being stretched on it. Number 2, teeth version, rise version, and then we're going with Frankenstein Stitch as number 3. I like the look of Frankenstein Stitch, but I love the teeth as a concept. But you can't beat that face on number 1,
I agree with Garrett.
as you should, sir.
So majority rules. Let's continue.
They're all rad. We'd all love them all for
Yes.
bookshelves,
No, they're
right?
all
I
really
actually
cool.
said that. I was like, I need all 3 of these now.
Yeah, those are. I mean, yeah, they are all dope. So
So he takes the book and we go upstairs and, there's some interaction. The mom's like talking to the neighbors like, oh my God, where are my kids? We get to introduce ourselves to
jobber number 1. He's
muscle shirt
Yeah.
neighbor guy, nice neighbor guy.
Gabriel,
Okay, Gabriel.
Gabriel.
We get old man Beardy
Mr. Fonda.
who has a cat and a
Yeah.
shotgun.
Charlton Heston guy.
There you go. There you go.
That's going to come into play later, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we meet 2 other kids who one of them has a thing for Bridget,
Jake.
Jake. I'm going to forget all these
How do you know?
names.
Oh,
Because I got
oh,
Yeah.
I was like, did they even say these names in the movie?
Probably not.
And then Jake's younger brother, who doesn't matter because he's cannon fodder out the gate.
Yeah.
Scott. So we meet all of them, and the mom, oh my God, my kids are safe, thank goodness. They go inside.
She goes, "You should never take the elevator after an earthquake." Then she goes, "My kids are safe, yay!" And they hug.
Well, classic parent thing.
Yeah,
Get
that
mad
is
at the
very
kid and be
parent.
like, okay, I'm going to calm down now.
And did you guys catch what the mother does?
She hugs him.
She takes the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
She stares at the stairs and takes the elevator.
Hypocrite.
Should have taken her own advice.
You know,
There's a lesson to be learned here.
what that lesson is, we don't know yet.
Get some exercise, you lazy ass. Take them stairs down to the basement.
She was in great shape. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm over schlubby over here being like, hey, lose some weight.
So Danny has the book out and he's like, hey, we could sell this, get mom some money. She could totally use it right now.
Yeah. His heart's in a good place.
Being one of the only sensible people in this house was like, yo, that's fucked up. You need to go put that back right now. And Danny's like, well, mom said we can't go outside because it's dark. I'll do it tomorrow. Clever son of a bitch, you.
Do you want to know what this reminded me of? In 3rd grade, right when Super Mario 3 came out, one of the kids in my class brought the cartridge.
Revealed to us in the classic The Wizard.
Yes,
Okay.
it was right around that time. He brought his game with him to school to show everybody in class. And while I was looking at it outside, the bell rang, and I went back to my desk with it. And when we went home for the day, I quickly went home with his game before he could
You stole this kid's Mario 3 game?
for the night.
Okay, all right.
And I gave it back to him the next
The
day.
anguish that kid must have been going through. Those carts were like $70 at the time.
He was pretty cross with me the next
I
morning.
believe it.
You fucking criminal.
Do you know the power of the wizard, Garrett? I had to play this game.
That is, wow, revelations on the GraveTalk podcast.
So I think there was some parallels between Danny's little, but mom won't let me take it, you know, that. So I was like,
Oh, no,
that's
he
me.
wants to fuck
That's
with those
little me.
records. That's straight up.
Yeah, he's being a little mischievous.
Also, I thought when he started playing those records, he was going to remix it with audio, like his bass, like,
That'd have been
I
so
thought
dope.
so too. Yeah.
That would have been rad.
I have a note that's like, why the fuck didn't we get a remix of this Necronomicon verbiage?
So let's stop. I want to ask you, you said you don't really connect or like these characters.
Nope.
Why? So far, I think they're all pretty well fleshed out.
Yeah.
Because everyone is, again, I know it's a horror movie. I'm going to let a lot of this go. I didn't really like hate them the entire movie, but everyone was such a character and like an overgeneralization of what, like, you know, like when an old man's like, you know what's cool right now? Tattoo artists, DJs, protesting. Yeah. You know, like, let's put them all in there. That's hip shit. It felt like the idea of what everyone thinks the coolest family ever is. Don't get me wrong, this family could exist. I'm sure it does out there somewhere. But everyone had such a like, I'm the DJ, I'm the protester, I'm the tattoo artist. And
What's
I was
the
like,
little kid? I'm the one with the doll head on the
I'm
stick.
the one with mental problems who's cutting baby heads off.
But also that's not her identity. She's not the tattoo artist.
She had the little like sparrow with the scroll above it. Like all her decor was tattoo, like classic tattoo.
She likes what she
design.
likes. I mean,
I know. Again, John,
doesn't seem
you don't have to
unbelievable.
defend this shitty
I
family
do.
for me. Okay?
No, I do.
I
Someone's
just-
got to.
I just didn't really connect with it. Again, the neighbors I connected with more. I was like, these people seem real. These people seem like they're just kind of living their lives and doing their own thing. I'm sure Homeboy with the cat has his little things, but it wasn't like their identity to me. But anyway, the movie calms down on that, and everyone kind of becomes like much more
So
acceptable.
it was a little too. This doesn't represent the modern common family. More or less.
Maybe not all at the same time. You know, there's always that one or two cool family members, but not the entire family.
Well, I go back to the purposeful thing. That's what I thought. Everything was so like, you know, general and purposeful. So they had to have the angsty teen that was the protester, and as everything you were saying.
A lot of it didn't feel natural enough to be.
I'm feeling him on that. I see what you're trying to say. Yeah.
It just felt a little bit too charactery for me to like, you know, be like initially like, oh boy, here we go. But again, the moment the movie gets going, though, I didn't really care too much about that. Because everyone actually acts pretty natural. Like, they don't like... There was no point I was like, go get my tattoo gun, I'll defend myself. And no one's like, I'll throw records at it. There was none of, like, their identity became how they were going to interact with the situation.
Oh man, I wish Danny was throwing records at demons.
You know? Or, like, you know, like, I'll blare this music and that'll, you know, stun it for a second or something.
Beatles White Album. Ah, fuck it.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, Shaun of the
Yeah,
Dead.
pretty
Now,
much.
this is I have 2 points of contention with this movie. Evil Dead as a whole, actually. I love these dusty old records. I love the fact that it has a #1 etched on it and then something like small written on it. If you are going to record yourself doing anything, let's say illegal, questionable, dangerous, and then at the end, after days of dealing with said incident, are going to record something that says like, oh my God, whatever you do, don't do this. For the love of God, don't touch this thing. Label that as #1. Right? Play me first on it. Do not name it #8. Because at the end, the sister's like, I'll start at the end. Whatever you do, don't touch these records. Motherfucker, Switch it up. Like, learn to label better. I know it has to happen this way, but it drives me nuts when that happens.
But he labeled them chronologically, so he's like, "Fuck, do I go back and scratch out the one?"
You scratch the fuck out, and you say, "Listen to me first."
Or you pull the magnetic tape out of the tape, and you don't have that at all.
Well, yeah.
He should have taken the record and snapped it in half rather than include it into the chronicle.
Anything.
But we have to have the demons released.
I mean, maybe
So.
it's okay to have if you're going to listen to this, stop the record halfway through disc 2, so you don't accidentally have this go off. Now, I did like in this movie though, when he starts playing it, he tries to stop it. The demonic power is actually preventing it from being stopped.
Yes, Danny. After the first word, he's like, "Nah, fuck this," and it won't let.
Not after the first word, he gets
it was
after the
it was
first
Conda,
disc.
and he's like, "Uh oh," and he like it
Oh
won't.
no! I'm talking about the Father Johnny's intro where he's like, me and Father Tony and Paul, we're all gonna basically fuck with some demons here.
But I
and see
get
what
it.
Happens.
I was like, yeah, and that really would make a really good sample for a song.
Oh,
so
no doubt.
I get
Again,
why he was probably like, yo, I found some good
The
shit.
remix should have happened. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the way this plays out is he takes out record number 1. He blows dust off it. He should have cleaned it better. It's probably still very filthy after 100 years in a bank vault. He puts it on and tries both speeds, 33, 45, and it's still too slow. So he has to manually wind that record. It's about a priest who's gathered a lot of the church members or congregation to present this finding. We found the Book of the Dead. I think he calls it something like the Naturam Damata. And he says, this is one of 3 books. So that's where I'm saying that all these could be actually in the same universe. We've got 3 Necronomicons now.
Did they have all 3 books together or just this one?
They've only found the one. He's
Okay.
like, the one of the legendary books of the 3 or something like that.
I love the audience in the background of the recording where it's
Right.
all like we should test this out, and everyone's like, hurrup, no, put it down. And I was like,
They're
that's
like,
awesome.
Heresy!
Yeah.
Destroy the book. And actually one of
Let's
the
order
voices,
pizza.
Boo that man.
one of the voices on the recording is Bruce Campbell.
Is it really?
One
Okay,
that
so
goes
that's
like,
the cameo.
We gotta destroy the book. I was like, that's Bruce.
That's cool. So you picked it up.
Yeah.
Okay, rad.
I actually haven't even checked to see if I'm right.
Oh,
It's just a
so
feeling.
you spread lies.
I know it's him in my hardest of hearts.
All right, well,
If I'm wrong, you can tell me, listeners, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
wouldn't it be a Book of the Dead then? If it's one of 3, not the Book of the Dead? Get it together,
Look,
movie.
it's Latin. All right, they didn't have the syntax proper at the time.
This has been John's nitpick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's my biggest problem with this movie. They got the title of the book wrong.
He moves on to disc 2 or vinyl number 2, puts it on, and it's the priest going, none of them believe me. None of them wanted me to do this, so I'm doing it on my own. Here we
City
go.
hands, hoopa.
Here we go. I'm reading the book. And then he starts reading it. And it's the same words that we get for all the books.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they kept the words the same. But yeah, Danny immediately was like, no, we're not doing this today. Tries to turn off the power. Power won't go off. I think he does even plug
Yeah.
his
It's
shit.
sparking and stuff.
Like,
Yeah, he's trying
shoots him
to.
with a spark.
He tries to manually remove the needle and he gets shocked. And it's like, okay, this is serious business now. Winds, all kinds of demonic things are going on.
And as this is happening, the mom, who is decompressing from interacting with her sister and the kids and the fright of, them almost being killed in an earthquake, decides to finally go do laundry. So she takes the elevator down to the first floor
Well, her daughter needs her favorite black shirt
for a protest. I get
for
it.
the protest.
That's fair.
She's just being a good mother.
She is being a good mom.
Yeah, yeah.
No complaints about the mothering here.
Okay.
The kids are still dumb as hell, but no complaints about the mothering.
So she goes into the elevator against her better wish.
Judgment,
Yeah.
if you will.
Better judgment,
Okay.
thank you. And then we get the POV Kandarian demon sliding through the city, bam, right into the elevator, hits the mother, throws her back, and the doors close. What is really reminiscent to the Vine scene in the original movie, she starts getting strangled with all the cabling from the elevator.
Okay.
Yeah, but this woman is a gangster. She does a great job fighting back for like as much as possible, considering her situation. So I was really impressed with her struggle
Do we know
to survive.
much about the main actress? Was she like a contortionist or acrobat? Did she do that her stuff herself?
She's an Australian model / actress.
Okay, because her contortion and her using her toes to hold herself
Yeah.
up in the elevator and stuff, I was like, wow, that's really difficult there.
It's almost scene for scene like Evil Dead, the remake in 2013, when she's running through and she gets stuck in the
bramble or whatever.
Yeah, same thing happens to her. She gets a branch around her neck and she uses one of her foot to push up herself.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Well done, movie. Well done.
So it was like, I guess, the industrial version of the out in the woods vine scene.
And it's just beating the hell out of her, and it's going to go inside of her.
But we don't actually see that
No.
like we do
No.
in the other two.
It got more politically correct as they went on. Because like the first one was, of course, very rapey. Second one, hide it a little bit, but a little bit more pronounced what the vine is doing. And then in this one, you just see a vine sort of go up.
I didn't even see a cord at all go up.
She does scream though, didn't she?
Yeah,
She did scream, but it was
scream.
completely like from
Off
outside
screen, yeah.
the elevator, and I was like, I feel like this is them being more tasteful as far as
Yeah,
this goes.
that's what I meant by being more
But at the
politically
same time, I was like, if I have to watch another woman get raped by an inanimate object, I was like, this movie trope needs to go away in these Evil Dead movies.
Good news, it did.
Yes.
I think Evil Dead Rise is just kind of being like, if you know, you know. Let's
exactly.
move on.
Yeah.
Well, this movie also does buck another trend that I had to look up, and just I'm going to cut to it now so we can get it out of the way because I'm just going to fester on it. In this movie, there is a scene where we basically see the air vents, which will then be used later on by the demon in a few other situations and stuff like that. But there is a cat. The neighbor's cat is inside the air vent. We see the cat in the air vent, and then the monster jumps up into the air vent, and then we don't see or hear the cat again. I can confirm from the director, the cat lives. The cat in this movie does not get killed.
Good job, Cat. I thought we were going to get a demon cat, and I was like, that is so clever.
Oh, I would love
then
that.
the scratches would make the other people demons, and
That's
Okay.
a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
but she went a different route, the demon lady. So that was what I was like. Oh, that poor cat.
So basically, at this point, we cut back upstairs to the family doing their thing. Auntie Beth is giving a bath
The
to...
power's gone out now.
Okay. this is
Because
the power now.
while she was struggling in the elevator, we see a bunch of sparks, which is a really great scene. She's just like dangling and, contorted.
yeah.
She also gets her earring ripped out, which looks super painful. Power shuts off, and then we cut back upstairs, and they're lighting candles, I believe.
Yeah, because Beth was giving a bath to the youngest girl and still fucking with the family. She's like, I don't go in the water without seeing underneath it because there might be monsters. And Beth's like, there's nothing in there. It's got me. And the girl's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? And it's like, dude, stop fucking with everyone like this.
Not the time. There was just an earthquake. All right, calm down.
Beth really needs to get her shit together.
She needs to read the room.
Yeah.
Look, Garrett, you'll understand once you become the fun aunt, okay? You're just not there yet.
So Ellie comes up out of the elevator. Why can't demons walk normal?
Getting used to that human skin, baby.
It looks awesome, but they always like walk like they're trying to figure it out, and I'm just like, come on, you guys.
I think she's literally trying to figure it out.
Yeah, she's inhabiting the demon's inhabiting a dead body.
you have
so-
plenty of time to research and practice before you.
I'd love to see that scene of the demon just
The
sort of walking
montage.
around in the elevator trying to get it
a
down.
real Rocky Four
yeah.
scene. Okay, all right.
I'm also of the opinion that they're still struggling in the body, the soul and the demon.
Oh, okay, fighting
fighting
against each
against
other.
each
Yes, because I think there's still moments where we get hints of the mother being like, "Don't let him take my babies."
Damn. Okay, I like that. I like
So
that.
I think that's what we're seeing. Once she finally is like dead on the bed, that's when the full transition's
She's
taken.
two-stepping, soft
okay.
shoeing. I mean, she's nimble as fuck.
Bow to your corner, bow to your partner. Do a little square dancing. Yeah, it's a whole thing in this movie.
Big square dancing scene. That's true. Spoiler. I didn't know we'd spoil that, but it's incredible.
So Ellie gets back into the apartment and walks straight into the kitchen. We all saw this scene from the trailer. This is where she walks in, starts throwing eggs in a cast iron skillet. And the family's kind of walking in and be like, Mom, what's up? What's going on? And then she says her little line of, I had this beautiful dream when we were a perfect family, yada, yada, yada. And all I wanted to do was, what did she say? Tear y'all limb from
Cut you
limb?
open and crawl up inside you so we'll be together forever.
Dude,
Fucking weird.
I got to give it to Evil Dead. Even though it's not a franchise that I really love, they have some of the best horror lines. Some of the creepy, like we're talking like Skeleton Witch metal album lyric type shit.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And I got to give it up to Alyssa Sutherland, the actress who played Ellie. Like she carries this movie. Like she is in top form as a demon. She does fantastic.
Totally agree. Tremendous job.
So anyway, she freaks out and
She turns around and isn't it where she vomits and dies?
she vomits a ton of
Oh, yeah.
white liquid all
Yeah.
over the floor, which could be bile.
Could be, or it could be semen. Leave
could
it
be
up to you.
demon semen.
You can pick, audience, and then she dies.
Well, this is also where she says, "Don't let him take my babies."
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
looks at Beth, and it's
Okay.
like one of the last moments of her spirit being in her own body. She vomits up the white. So Beth and Danny are trying to get her out of the apartment to try to get some help or something like that. And they come up to the stairs, they open it up, and just like previous Evil Deads, their path of escape is gone. It's like whenever Ash tried to drive and go over the bridge,
Yeah.
the bridge is completely torn up.
Now, is that from the demon powers, or is that just like a coincidence as well?
Yeah, it's just bad earthquake luck.
Okay.
In a condemned shitty building.
Okay.
No, I think the stairs were there.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I think this is definitely demonic forces. I think they're always trapped whenever the situation the Evil Dead happens.
All right. I dig
mean,
that
what do
too.
you think?
The demons make it that way, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Because even in the other ones, like when the water would be too high, it wasn't really. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Oh, in 2013.
Yeah, like it would have been raining for like a week for that thing to be that full. So I think you're right. I think the demons have some sort of oversight over that.
Maybe not 5.5 earthquake power, but definitely a control the environment
stair destruction power. I dig it. Yeah.
And remember, the whole "you should have taken the stairs" thing happened right after the earthquake, before the book was read.
Did she look if the stairs were there?
power. No, we didn't see it at that time.
Yeah, but I do believe you. We don't have to get into this. I do believe you. I'm convinced. I believe that is the demons. I'm on board.
I would love if you're just stubborn for the rest of the podcast. You're like, no, we're going back to these stairs.
No, I'm sold. I'm in.
The neighbors come out and like, what's going on? And they see that she's dead at this point.
Yeah, they take her back to her bed and they throw her into her bed and they try to close her eyes, but they keep opening.
Okay, that way it only does it once. Like, what's the neighbor's name?
Gabriel.
Gabriel does the two fingers, closes the eyes, and they pop back up like a kid's toy. And I was like, whoa. And then he's like, wait a minute, that's weird. Does it a second time, and they stay closed this time.
Did it make a noise too?
Yeah, it did
Yeah,
make a
like
noise.
a
Chink.
like blinds going up, like a cartoon. So they're having this moment, and Gabriel's like, "Hey, can we pray?" And you got old man Charlton Heston-esque character. You know, he's like, "All right, let's do this." They give a little prayer. They're like, "You know what? We can actually escape out of here. You and I can take these tools, and we'll go through this one apartment which has a fire escape ladder."
But it's been barred closed for some reason.
Yeah,
And
it's a
you-
condemned building, I guess.
And you're not getting through those doors. That's you can't get through them.
This is old wood.
Yeah, old
okay?
wooden doors. They're known for their rigidness.
So Gabriel's trying to hammer away the lock, and then Mr. Fonda's like, "What if I just blast it off?" And he's like, "You really want to shoot a gun after a mother just like died?"
Yes, you do. Yes, you fucking do. When he said that, I was like, where's the argument here? Yes, do you want to get out of here? I'm going to fire this fucking gun.
Yeah, start blasting.
You know what you can do? You can peek your head and go, hey, by the way, we're going to shoot off a gun real quick to blow open this door so we can get out of here. You guys cool? If you hear something, you're good. It
Yeah.
takes 3 seconds to communicate.
But now knowing that the demons make it so you can't leave, who knows if that fire escape was even there anymore?
Oh, good point.
True.
What if that door's not a door at all?
Just opens to a wall.
So they can't open it, but as they're trying to, chisel it away and about to shoot it, Ellie wakes up in the bed. Like, she's rise and shine because Beth is having this, like, I can't believe you're gone. What am I going to do? I'm not equipped to handle life. I've got problems. You were supposed to help me with them. I can't be a mother. Blah, 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 blah.
Me,
Boom,
me.
demon. And then the Ellie says something like real biting, like maybe you shouldn't be such a whore and spread your legs or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And Beth is like up on her feet like, okay, this is fucked up.
Beth like grabs her and like, oh, she's burning up. So they drag her into the tub, and then this is just where shit goes sideways. So they, she jumps it like up from the tub like spider style.
Shoots up out
Yep.
of it, yeah.
Incredible, and then lets out some sort of banshee scream.
Now, is that new for this movie, or has that happened in other Evil Deads?
I don't recall.
Not really a banshee scream, yeah.
Not any crazy, let's alert the entire apartment complex style scream.
Because there's enough of like, remember this about Evil Dead. So I want to make sure that I'm also like pointing out and applauding the original stuff this movie did.
So you said at the top that we had a lot of the fan service shoved down our throat, and I can only think of one time that I thought it was shoved down our throat.
That's at the end with the chains
Yes.
come. Yeah, I was like,
Okay,
"Aw."
and the thing is, because that was so prominent, maybe that kind of left a little bit more intense taste in my mouth. But there's a lot of nods.
I thought a lot
to
of the other
previous
things were
films.
kind of subtle, though.
Yes, they are. I will give you that. I'll pull that back a little bit. But man,
Okay.
that end scene is just so. It's not even on the nose. It's like in your face. It's like in your skull.
Yeah, but one in the whole movie. All right, I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Groovy.
They get into a tussle, and I don't know if anyone can remember the blow by blows because I don't.
Beth gets stabbed to the hand with a piece of mirror because the mirror
Oh,
shatters
yes.
when she does her banshee yell.
Bridget's yelling at her mother to stop.
Yes.
Right. So the mother turns her attention onto Bridget, and that's when she jumps on top of her and grabs her tattoo gun.
Well, no, because Beth gets stabbed to the hand.
Yeah,
first.
this is after.
After.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Bridget's yelling, "Don't stop!" Stop stabbing your sister in the hand already. So
Forget about it.
So she jumps onto Bridget with the tattoo gun and then like jams it in her own temple, like right above her daughter. And just, I wish I could remember exactly what they say, because part of what I find appealing about the Evil Dead possession is that they are just nasty and they know everything just to say to you to really fuck with their victims.
They really encompass the Exorcist level, like just
totally,
filthiest shit you can say, but like in a really biting way.
Yeah, they're having fun being demons. They really enjoy
It's called
it.
Demon Shade. That's what it's called. Yes.
Yeah.
You never want to go to a rap battle with these people, because
No.
they're gonna put you down quick.
Really good at it.
Yeah.
After stabbing herself in the temple, she takes the tattoo gun and gets it right up to the eyeball. One of the most intense scenes in the movie. We are an extreme close up of this tattoo needle almost piercing an eyeball. I thought we were going to see it.
Me too.
I did not think we were going to shy away from it.
See, I was still thinking, this movie, kids are going to be fine.
After 2013, I will not put anything past the Evil Dead movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they would have done it in the 2013 movie for sure.
Probably.
But in this one, she gets hit by a chair instead.
Well, she jams it into Bridget's cheek and does a line and then says something really fucking mean. I can't remember what it is either. I wish we had a copy of this film so we could like check it out. But tattoos a line across her face, really deep. I mean, it's a gash. And then, she gets cracked over the head with a chair by Danny.
And
then,
I kept thinking, now she's going to have to live with a weird line tattooed on her. Is she going to make that into something? This is what I'm thinking as I'm watching it. Is she going to make that into something later? What could that be?
when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
What would you turn that into?
I don't know. That's
Brag.
what this is why I was wondering the whole time. Like, what if that be? Like
A treble clef.
It says, Mama never loved me. It says mother.
But she's she's a protester, so it could be something with that.
That's true. So Ellie gets knocked back into the breezeway of the apartment. It gets really dark.
By the chair, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
the door is open and the neighbors are like wandering in and they see the woman they thought was dead and they're like, what the hell? And draws the attention of the demon, and then that's how she makes it outside the apartment.
I did have a problem with this timeline in the movie because they hear the banshee scream out in the hallway and they start running towards the door, and then all this whole fight scene happens and they run through the door right after she gets knocked in the thing. I was like, what were y'all doing in the hallway for like a minute and a half, like just waiting for the dramatic entrance?
It was a weird demon hallway. The more they ran, it just kept expanding.
longer and longer.
That headcanon.
Yeah,
God,
I'm there
so
for
glad
you.
We got it.
So they smartly decide to lock up the apartment and chain the door shut. I'm like, yeah, that's what you do.
After kicking her, Ellie out in the hallway, right?
Right.
Well, she jumps on Gabriel and bites his fucking eyeball off,
Okay.
and that gets him in the hallway.
I couldn't tell. Like, I know she bit the eye socket area and the eye came out. Okay, I do have a problem with this scene. It bites the eye socket area, a whole chunk of skin's gone. The eye is gone. We're seeing all this. Look, we're not shying away from this shot at all. She turns around, spits the eyeball at Gabriel's younger brother, who inhales it and then chokes to death on it. This is where I thought the movie was going to get comedic, like kind of really classic Evil Dead kind of goofy. But no, I think this is the only thing that was kind of goofy.
Like the most out of character death for like this whole movie, but maybe it was like a nod or a wink to like, hey, here's something that might have happened in one of the goofier movies, or
It absolutely did.
Okay.
This was something that definitely happened in those movies.
Oh, did it?
Eyeball in the mouth has definitely happened in the previous films.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a nod to previous stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well
It's
there you go.
the loogie of all loogies.
So Beth is looking through the peephole because they blocked the door with the kids, so they're safe, quote unquote. And then they're watching Ellie out in the hallway, take out these people one by one. And then Ellie is like going after the little brother, Gus.
Steve, Scott, doesn't matter.
Scott, that's what it is. And she like chases him off camera to the left, and you see Scott's body fling into frame against a wall, splat against the wall. Like,
He's missing a limb or two, I think.
yeah, he's fucked up. And then she walks back and is looking at it like, job well done to me. She turns around, looks at the people, and she's like, I know you're in there, something like that. And then off camera to the right, bam! Shotgun blast, blows her out of the frame to the left. This is so well done. Like, visually, this is such a well thought out scene. You see old man Carruthers walk into frame with his shotgun. He's going to go, like, shoot her down.
I respect that. He was going for the second shot.
You
so
don't stop until you empty that barrel.
big time respect on Yosemite Sam there.
There you go.
And also, if you're playing at home with your Evil Dead checklist, shotgun, check.
Yes, definitely. But as he's going for the second shot, he gets his feet ripped out from under him. He falls down below frame, out of frame, and he gets drug off to the left. You hear his screams go over there. Again, I cannot reiterate how well done this. You're watching this through a circular peephole on a like widescreen aspect.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just so well done. And she comes back to the peephole and she's like, "My work here is done, baby."
And Ellie's going to try to trick Cassie to open the door for her.
Yeah.
Can I just bring up a point?
Sure.
Have we got to the point where Beth looks outside where she thinks where the fire escape is, and there's a homeless man walking down, and she's trying to scream to get his attention?
I think that's actually what she's doing here.
Are you getting to that
Okay.
point? That would have been the perfect example, the perfect time for that homeless man to look up, and it was Alice Cooper.
Yes.
From Prince of Darkness.
Right,
That's
John
what
Carpenter's movie. That
Yeah, I was thinking that would have been a good
That would have been amazing.
little cherry on top. That
All
little,
right.
been
Another
nice.
nod to a classic horror flick.
This is what Hollywood should get at us. We got ideas galore.
Well, it's too late on this one. They already made it.
Remake.
But the next time we get a homeless man in a movie, Alice, you're making a comeback.
Yeah.
So while Beth is screaming into the rain at a non-Alice Cooper, the other
Why,
kids
why
are,
didn't she throw?
Yeah, this
Throw something.
Well, I hate to break it to you science nerds out there, and you know, shout out to my people, but sound travels through water. Like, it can happen. If you yell in the rain, sure, it's loud, but if you're yelling in an alleyway between two concrete structures, that echoes. It's loud. You can hear it. You have to actively not want to hear someone screaming at you from a building. I've been to big cities and had people yell at me from buildings. You hear it.
That's true. Yeah, he probably just didn't care. He's like, whatever. Crazy shit coming out of that crazy building.
He's got more important things to look at, or they. I don't know if it's a man or a woman.
That's true, yeah.
But whatever. The so Beth is doing that. The kids are basically consoling each other in the room or whatever. At this point,
Danny and Cassie are.
Yes.
But Bridget is over in the kitchen trying to clean her wound, and then out of nowhere, it just starts spurting. Is it supposed to be tattoo ink?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Is that what it is? 'Cause I was
Yeah.
like, why is it black?
because it starts like tendriling out from the
Yeah.
actual cut. The ink starts like as if it's like a bloody vein, like kind of spreading across her face, and then her nose starts bleeding black ink. And it's like pretty good run. It's like a pretty like runny nose. And then the interiors, like the inside of her eyes, what are those things
ducts.
called? The
Yeah.
ducts start bleeding black ink. And she's like, okay, this is some bullshit at this point.
And if you've ever watched an Evil Dead movie, you know when it starts that black tenderling just means it's just like Ash's hand, it's gone bad.
Yeah.
So she is definitely infected. So I didn't think she would get infected from the tattoo gun. I thought it had to be like a scratch or something like we've seen in the
Yeah.
past. Like this was like a weapon hit.
Well,
So,
let's
I don't
assume
know.
that
Oh,
maybe she
no,
got
she
scratched.
went down and licked it later.
Oh, you're right.
The mom did
Okay.
lick the wound, so.
You're right. She's like,
As any good mother
Oh,
would.
yes. Okay.
the kiss and make it better.
I didn't know how either. I couldn't remember
Yeah.
exactly how they got infected. I was
That's
like,
what happens when you see a movie in the theater and you can't rewatch anything before we record. So Beth comes in and she sees Bridget. She's now squatting on the countertop facing the cupboards.
looking up at the angle. And now all I could think of is like when a cat is frozen in some weird position, looking up at a corner in your house, and you're like, what the fuck are you looking at? I know you're seeing some shit that I don't want to know is there. I loved that so much. I tried not to laugh in the theater when that happened.
And you just hear crunching, like glass crunching. And it's
You
like-
know what it is.
At first, I was thinking back to 2013. I'm like, oh, she's defacing herself with the shards, is what I thought.
Oh no, I heard the
Yeah.
noise and I was like, oh, she's eating glass, bro.
Turns around, she's eating a wine glass.
Oh, we forgot to say why she's eating a wine glass, because she basically horks up a big old massive clump of like maggots and bugs and worms, and like it's just like gross bug vomit. Like it's so disgusting. So when she's eating glass, she turns around and she's like, I've got to kill the crawlies in my tummy or something like that, and I got to cut them out. Oh my god, so disgusting.
And they even close up on her throat, and you see the glass like puncture from inside.
You see her swallowing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was really impressed with that because I've never thought about what swallowing glass to that size would look like, and I think they did a good job of encompassing it.
Bridget, she slithers off of the countertop and starts chasing Beth. And Beth throws the weapon of choice, a cheese grater, at the demon. And the demon catches it and then goes straight for her leg. And I was like, bet you're regretting that. This was the part in the trailer that had me cringe before we even saw it happen. So I didn't know if we were going to get the full cheese grate or not, but we sure as hell did.
Ugh,
I'm going to be honest. I'm disappointed by this scene.
You were.
Yes, we have a cheese grater. We have someone in peril. We have a demon, and they go for the leg. Don't get me wrong. Intense, definitely painful to watch. I thought we were gonna get like a cheese grate on the face. I thought we were gonna get like some kind of like use it across like the neck and like start spraying out each individual hole like a sprinkler type thing. I thought we were going to get more with the cheese grater than we did.
So you wanted more like the syringe scene in 2013.
Exactly. I thought we were going hardcore with that because it's in the trailer. They focus on it. I was like, oh man, here we go. Strap in. This is it. Just a cheese grater leg. I ride BMX. I've had pedals like dig into my bones and my shin. Like I'm sitting there going like, okay, I get it. This sucks, but you know.
You've had like rows of skin taken off
Not
with
rows, but I had enough like leg damage to be like, you can live through this. I'm not too worried about it.
I mean, I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it to happen to me. Is all I'm saying. So
Again, not my first choice of Sunday activities.
Beth runs to the kids. I was like, danger straight to the kids. Way to go. Great mother over here doing,
Which is why she should have that kid and definitely adopt this other one.
for sure. But
You're a bad mom.
Demon Bridget chases her in there, and guess what saves her? Stephanie, the doll head with the spear on it.
The broken broomstick gets shoved through the mouth of Bridget, through the back of the head. And so Bridget turns around with a stick through her head with a doll head at the end. I thought the doll was going to talk. I thought the doll was going to basically have the demon like, oh, you think that's going to stop me or some shit like that. Because again, Goofy, Evil Dead, I thought that might have happened.
Like, I wish that would have happened.
It did not. I wrote that down. I was like, why did this doll head not talk?
I think I got something in my throat.
There you go. Fuck, man. There's so many opportunities here. But again,
this isn't that flavor of Evil Dead.
No.
of course it isn't. But you never know, though, because it's Evil Dead. They could just switch it up on you.
There is that scene that I really enjoyed where Ellie puts her finger on the record and the record starts playing out of her mouth.
Again.
So
That was pretty.
it could have happened too.
Okay.
So Bridget pulls out Stephanie, which again is just a broomstick, and she
With a doll head.
right? And she falls over, and we're like, oh, she's dead. Or at least our characters think she's dead. So Danny like wraps her up in a sheet and ties her down with some string or something.
And he was like, I thought it'd be safe to just tie her down. And I was like, this motherfucker gets it.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all.
Very serial killer like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And something that's also occurring is as these things occur in the movie, much like 2013, we see pictures inside of our Necronomicon flip open to kind of portray what's happening out in the real world as well. And that's something that was never done in the original. But I was like, okay, that's a little nod to the 2013.
And I think we need to start a whole side podcast where we just go page by page and appreciate the art and the images in these new Necronomicon books. God damn, they are so nice. They are so cool. It bothers me that like they're so great and we get such limited time with them. And we get the images over the credits at the end, but again, it's still not long enough. Like I want to like stand in a museum and just stare at them for like hours.
That's the DVD like special release.
Yeah.
That better be on there. Hollywood, you know what to do. Now, let me ask you a question to that note. Do you think the pages change each time, or do you think every time this demon is released, they do the same exact things? They become throat cut and...
Well, I hate to keep going back to the 2013 one, but in the 2013 one, he first gets to look at the Necronomicon. It's things that happened. It was like foreshadowing, but the movie catches up with the Necronomicon at that point, and then I think the Necronomicon starts pulling out the prophecy, I guess, of what's going to happen. So in
You're
that
okay.
movie, it kind of catches up.
Right, you're correct, because it starts off with the girl tied to the post who gets set on fire and her face shotgunned off. And then it continues with that to raise the demon at the end, right? So it had to have the 5 sacrifices, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's how that goes.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was a whole different
different book,
thing.
maybe different rules.
True. I would like to think that these things can rewrite themselves, though.
Yeah.
Especially if you've watched Ash versus the Evil Dead, it gets really fucking bananas. What's happening at the same time is Bridget gets up and is following around Danny and Cassie with the sheet on, starts floating around like a ghost.
That was so creepy.
Really good
The
scene.
first time you see it, like kind of just like zips out of the door. Shout out to the set designers and stuff like that. The sheet blends so well with the colors of the background. You can see it move, but when it stops moving, it blends right in. Like you can still see it's there if you're focusing on it, but you can quickly lose focus of the sheet. It's almost like your eye gets tricked to not pay attention to it right away. that was really well done.
It was a creepy scene, but I've seen it several times.
Okay.
With the running, the toes.
It's
It's so
not,
cool.
it's not original, but yeah.
It was well done, and in the context of the movie, I was spooked by it. I was like, "Oh shit, that's pretty good."
Yeah, it did freak me out originally. I mean, once it started like floating through the air like a ghost, I was like, okay, I'm not as worried about it now. But
Yeah, once it can float, I was like, "Oh, easy to kill."
you know what's weird? I like my scares just almost plausible, but not too far fetched. You know?
So
She had a broomstick put through her brain. We're past plausible.
So earlier, Ellie had tricked Cassie into opening the door, saying, "Come on, baby, it's me. All I need is just a big hug from you, and I'll be okay." Cassie opens the door, and the mother immediately starts choking her out.
Dude, not only that, she uses her dad because early in the movie,
Yeah.
like Cassie's like I wish Dad would come back, and then Bridget's like, "Don't worry, Dad'll come back. Don't lie to your fucking siblings about that shit. It's never gonna end well."
No.
So she's like, "Daddy's here. He's right off camera. Don't you want to meet him? Hi, Daddy." It's just like she's not quite doing the voice, but
Yeah.
like.
She's got a hand puppet.
The fact
me,
that
Dad.
It's me, your father. The fact that Cassie can be so smart about other stuff, like you'd be a good mom, you know how to lie to kids, but then also fall for the your dad's off camera. I was like, okay, y'all need to like come up with a line here that we can follow.
I did not like that part of the movie. She's so much dumber in that scene than at any other scene in the movie. But I guess kids can be dumb.
Like
so.
my note says, kids are dumb.
So they see her getting choked out by the mom, Danny and Beth.
She's being held up in the air like Andre the Giant holding
Yes.
up like a jobber,
Her
man.
little feet are kicking, and I was like, "Oh shit, they're gonna kill this kid!"
They managed to get her free and get the door closed again, and that's when Danny's like, "All right, I have to show you something." And he fesses up about the book and the records, and he takes Beth in there. He's like, and Beth is like, "Okay, you got this where now?" He's like, "Down in a fucking box inside a bank vault under the apartment." And it's like,
In a hole in the ground.
yeah. She says something effective like, "I really want to listen to these records now." He's like, "But the power is out." And she goes, "Don't worry about it. I'm a guitar tech."
Yeah. And then we get a montage of soldering.
Where did she get all these batteries from, though?
That was a question I had. There was like 32 AAAs, like all routed together with also like car batteries
Yeah.
and
we,
things.
we all have siblings, right? I don't know if you have siblings.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, as a family with siblings, there are not that many batteries
No.
that are not like completely drained, sitting in the freezer.
You never have enough. That's the
Yeah.
problem with batteries.
Yeah, she's finding just like all kind, like 12 volts, 9 volts, car batteries. Like what the hell?
She gets it working, which
Yeah.
I really, even though it's super implausible, I loved the fact that she did this, and it was like really like, wow, okay, you can really do some stuff if you put your mind to it. I mean, the rest of the movie, she's dumb as hell, but like, you know, this
Because
is a
she's
really
not a groupie, all right? She's a guitar tech.
true.
Yeah.
That was a running gag throughout the movie. The sister kept calling her a groupie.
Look, I get it. That's insulting. She has an actual job. A
True.
groupie's
Yeah.
not a job.
Yeah, her job is to sit in a bathroom and piss on pregnancy tests.
All right, you. Let's see what side of this argument you're
Don't
on.
tell groupies it's not a job. Have you tried being a groupie? It's a lot of work.
Look, I haven't. That's true.
So she gets the record player working, and in the stupidest way possible, she puts headphones on.
Dude, why
Cut
put
yourself
both?
off from your environment of danger.
Beth is not a survivalist and was like, the last thing I need to do is be able to hear. So let's just cut out all
The
sound.
last thing she needs to do is be in charge of another life,
Wow.
okay? Because she is not using her brain.
So dumb.
Well, it's so Bridget, Ghost Bridget, quilted northern fucking Bridget can fly around and knock around the kids for a while without being hurt.
Yes.
And in the meantime, Ellie's outside of the apartment and she hears the cat mentioned
In the vents.
She's like, "I got an idea."
And again, back to the whole aliens reference. You know, I was like, oh, here we go. They're in the vents. But
She sneaks her way into the room where Beth is, listening to the tapes where I don't exactly know what information she gleams at this point.
she
tape-
starts at the end. Remember, she goes,
Yeah.
you start at the beginning, we'll start at the end. And
Right.
that's where it's like, this is a warning
Yeah.
to anyone who's going to listen to
You're
these.
right. And the priest is like, "You got to cut them up into little pieces."
No, he says even that doesn't work. He's like, I have no idea how to kill them. Basically, like I've cut their heads off, I've cut their limbs off, I've
think
set them
he's-
on fire.
I think he said at one
he
point-
said he buried them alive. Basically,
I think he said the only thing that actually worked was total disembodiment.
Maybe he did say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That was what was on records 2 through 7.
Oh, okay.
Was each one was a different thing he
specific
tried.
instructions, yeah.
A diary of things he tried.
I want to hear those records now.
Day
Yeah,
6
really.
went paintballing.
Bill's on fire has no effect.
Well, they said they burned them.
Yeah,
and
they
just
tried
like
everything.
laughed and danced in the flames. Again, the Priest records are honestly one of the best things about this movie because the words they use to describe this are so creepy. The
I wanna see
imagery
that
it
movie.
paints is so like messed up.
Well, it's just like I was saying when we did Skeleton Key. There's something creepy naturally about old timey records.
Yeah.
With shit going on.
Take
you know?
that to Charleston.
Yeah. Creepiest of
okay,
the
so-
songs.
Jump, jive, wail, and die.
I do have. We talked about this a little bit when we saw it because my boyfriend came with us and he's a musician, so we talked about this about how this was not doable to make these records, especially one record 7 times, one individual record 7 times, like because the process of making vinyl. And he said it would have been like one of the small records, the kind of those really thick ones that are like a frisbee, and it would have been like a Decca record. And they all said 1923 on it, and I didn't like the timing of it at all.
Okay.
Because like in the 80s, it was the first ones were the tape, right? The magnetic tape, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
They didn't have any kind of recording device in 2013, and then they went to records, which I'm assuming what takes place now. It just seemed weird.
Well, that's right. She said it out loud, didn't she, in 2013?
No, the
In
guy, no.
2013,
Guy said
Mr. Hipster reads the book.
He's
After
just
it's
reading
already
the book.
scratched
Okay,
out
so
and says,
someone
"Don't ever read this ever, you,
someone
especially
verbally says
you."
it.
And he like does the rubbing to even get the words,
Yeah.
and then reads
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Which goes to show you can't stop stupid.
So they just didn't have the record knowledge in the movie correct.
They shouldn't have
Yeah.
looked like old Van Halen records. It shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Professionally pressed, like
You know, this is a 33 gram. You know, like let's get
Yeah.
into the actual vinyl like science.
Well, it probably wouldn't work on today's DJ set.
Technique
That's true,
100s.
yes.
Yeah, it's-
The needle was probably maybe a little different.
They should have been laser discs. Something
oh,
cool.
now we're
Laser
talking.
discs, yeah.
Didn't she say that at one point?
I thought it was a laser disc because it had like there's nothing on the back of it when he brought it out, and I was like, well, that's an interesting choice.
slowly spin a laser disc by hand.
So as she's listening to this with headphones on, Ellie comes through the vents behind her. Really creepy scene. She scales the wall like a bug, ends up popping up right behind her. At the same time, Danny's out there getting killed by Bridget.
Yeah, they're back in the kitchen, and he's like getting stabbed in the arm and in the chest, but he does manage to spray an aerosol can against one of the burners, and it sets Bridget on fire, and she goes down. In the meantime, while Beth is listening to the record, she sees Ellie's reflection in the mirror just in the nick of time.
The window in front of her, yeah.
Yeah, and she spins around and gets tackled, and then we finally get, "I'll swallow your soul."
Yeah, the exact thing is, I'm here to swallow your souls. I was like, God, again, such great lines. in
Then
this
she
movie.
sniffs and says almost something to the effect of, "Oh, bonus soul!
2 for 1.
Today's my lucky day."
They do say that babies have a special smell, so maybe
Even that early?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So Danny gets stabbed in the heart in this process. Like he gets stabbed in the arm when he's fighting Death Bridget.
Dude, that arm stab. Ugh.
Oh, you see that.
Yeah.
It's vicious. And then after that, like as they're still tussling and she's on fire, she stabs him like in the chest. Like he's got a huge like cutting knife in his chest.
No, he's like dead.
Okay, well, he stumbles out of the room into the hallway after Beth and Ellie have a little tussle. That's when Ellie jumps on Beth out in the living room, and then Cassie kicks the scissors from underneath that we saw earlier.
Check off scissors. Everything in this movie is important.
Yeah. She throws the scissors to her, and then she rams these giant shears up into Ellie's mouth and through her nose.
Goes straight through her nostril.
Yeah, it
like-
goes right through her nostril. It's
Okay,
ugh.
yeah, I can't describe it. It goes up into the face. It's so messed up, and then she kind of just falls over. And at this point, they go over to Danny, and he's like, "I'm done for. Remember me as a peacemaker."
Avenge me.
So play the Monster Mash. So
Cassie's like, "So you gonna be a mom?"
because I think when like Beth and what's her face are
Well,
fighting,
she
in the
saw
living
her
room,
clawing at the belly.
Yeah, because when Ellie jumps on Beth in the living room, she puts her hand and like she's gonna dig the baby out of her stomach.
I like that part. That was a real tense part. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Now, do her fingers actually go into the skin? Because it looks like
No,
they
I don't
penetrate.
think so. It was really close to it, though.
Yeah, it looked like they did,
I
but
thought
I
I
don't.
saw blood, but I couldn't tell.
They couldn't have because it doesn't come back to play, and this movie's pretty good
True,
about
true.
keeping
Yeah.
track of that.
So anyway, anyway, yeah, she tries to take the baby from inside of Beth. And then, yeah, as you said, Cassie's like, are you going to be a mom? This is where Beth should have said, no, under no circumstances am I dealing with kids ever again.
She'd be like, now's not the time, kid.
Yeah.
So Beth and Cassie try to escape the apartment. They also are like, the fire escape. They run outside and they go through the hall. They do pick up the shotgun in the process from Mr. Fonda's dead body. And they're over there banging away, trying to kick open the door. And Beth starts loading the shotgun to actually shoot the lock off when Ellie has gotten back up, taken the scissors out of her nose, and she starts flying through the hall. And Beth just manages to get the gun up just in time to shoot her leg off.
Blows her leg clean off. Knee down.
Nice shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it turns out that's how to do it. Just disable them. And then you got all the time in the world as they're just standing there talking shit the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know what the real character's name is, but I'm calling him the Charlton Heston guy.
The old man.
The old man, where he died with that shotgun in his hand. So when she goes to grab the shotgun, she really has to like peel his fingers back. And that's all I thought when I was watching is
His cold dead
You'll
hands.
never take whatever that quote is from my cold dead hands. Yeah.
I wonder if that was intentional. That's a good point. I didn't think of that, but now
I got that feeling too because
Yeah.
she really like had to like break the rigor mortis hands, and I was like, "Oh, is this a message?"
Ellie Demon goes into trickery mode and she's like, Cassie, she's trying to take you away from me. And Cassie's like, you're not my mother anymore. She goes, all right then. You're trying to take her away from me, and like switches tactics a little bit. He's like, that's not going to work. And then she starts coming at her again, and she gets her arm shot off.
The neighbors, everybody starts waking up like as demons.
Yeah, Ellie falls to the ground. Zombie kids come out of the room, and they start to pantomime crying about the mother.
Danny and Bridget
Yes.
are crying over their mother, and they start laughing in the process.
I thought this was a great scene.
Yeah.
And Ellie, who's upside down, like armless and legless, starts laughing with them.
Everybody here dies by dawn, Beth.
Okay, so I know there's a video game called Dead by Dawn, and I think I've asked you this a million times, Mark.
There's a movie called Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn.
Oh, I didn't know that was a subtitle. I didn't know
All right then.
Okay, well then never mind.
It's what they chant in the movie.
I did like this scene. It was really well done. It was very creepy. At this point, Beth and Cassie are like, all right, fuck it. We're taking the elevator. We're going to risk it.
Right, because everyone else comes back to life, like the dead Gabriel and the old man and the two kids, and they start like chasing after her. So they have no choice but really to go in the elevator.
As they get in the elevator and it closes, Cassie realizes the reason the elevator won't close by itself is because the keys are stopping it. Anyway, ridiculous. She pulls the keys
Oh,
back.
yeah.
The door's closed. They won't go down because there's no power in the building. At this point, the Necronomicon is still flipping its pages open, and we see the old picture of like a body being ripped apart. And then we see it happening in real time where the kids and the neighbors are ripping the mother apart.
I saw a picture that looked like somebody just got done shunting.
Well, no. There's a picture earlier which basically shows like a torso being shredded. And then that's what they do. They start shredding her torso. They reach into it, and then it also shows the shunting picture in the book, and that's what they kind of become. But we don't see them become that.
Spider
yet.
Hands Man or
Yes.
whatever.
Now, this is the first time they've ever done this in an Evil Dead movie, where all the demons join into one weird conglomerate.
I was
Like
gonna
a
ask that.
Thing style.
Yeah.
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 I didn't know that had ever been done before.
No, but I thought it was cool.
I mean, I've seen it happen several times, but I can't think of all the names of the movies. There's a movie I'm never going to think of the name, but
Society, but that's
The Void.
ooh, the Void
Oh, The
does have
Void,
that. Yeah.
The Void. That's a
Yeah.
whole podcast. Okay, where are all the movies where everyone got conglomerated thing style? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So the buttons on the elevator stop filling up with blood. The elevator starts filling up with blood, and we get to see the weight limit. And I was like, okay, that's important to know because blood's probably heavy.
Could you imagine?
And they also jump down on. Then some of them jump down on the top.
Yeah,
of the
like
elevator.
the new monster jumps on the top.
Yeah, because it kind of goes down a little bit. They jump onto that, and then again, this scene was really intense because they'll be able to float enough in the blood water to be able to kind of push the emergency hatch off the top of the elevator roof open. And as they do, that's when we see all the multiple hands of this creature start to climb its way in.
Don't they start choking Beth?
It may be.
I think it like grabs her or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
At this
but
point, you're fucked. I mean, there's no escape here. But then, as Mark says, we cut to a moment of looking at the weight capacity of the elevator. Snap, zoom, crashes to the ground. We get an excellent shining nod as the elevator bursts open and blood rushes everywhere. We see two lifeless bodies just shoot across the floor and smash into the back wall.
So do you think you lived through this double dare obstacle course?
Yes.
You think you would
Maybe
be
not
okay?
that kid, but I think Beth could probably.
That was like a, 14-foot drop? I mean, I know you're suspended in liquid, but do you make
I
it
don't
out
think
with
they're on
the...
14. I don't think they're on the top. I think they're maybe on like floor 5 or 6.
We know that old gal's on number 5.
And she said she was below them.
Yeah, so we were at least at like
We're on
6, 7.
You can survive that because the thing is, there's enough liquid in there. When it hits, sure, you're going to go down, but it's so full that it's like jumping into a pool. You don't sink straight to the bottom and hit the bottom. You kind of do that like turn thing. So I think with the hit from science, I think you survive the impact of the elevator. Now, when you shoot out the door and you slam into the wall, you've got enough broken at this point that maybe you don't get up and go, woo, that was fun.
What's that show where they debunk stuff in movies?
Mythbusters?
Mythbusters.
Yeah, I think this is one of those moments here.
All right, I'll be the Adam Savage. You can be the Jamie John.
I was going to be Carrie, but okay.
All right, I like it. Go for it.
They run for the car. They open the garage after some failed attempts.
Cassie and Beth are both alive.
Yeah, they are.
Preface that.
Our 2 remaining survivors. They start to leave the garage, but what do you know? They fall in a hole.
Now,
car wheel is stuck in a hole.
Yeah, because the gate won't open, right?
Now, the gate does open, but as they're
Finally.
driving, one of the back wheels falls in the hole. That hole, man, it's fucking them up.
Now, was there daylight shooting into the garage? Because the way it was lit looked like there was like beams of light kind of coming into the
I
garage.
think it was light from outside of the city.
Yeah, I didn't notice
I don't think it was daylight.
Oh, you don't think it was daylight?
Why do you ask?
Well, I'm sorry, like the gate turns on. Everything kind of like starts powering back on at this point. And so I was like, oh, did they get power because the sun's coming up? Because, dead by dawn. Is that the time limit they have? But since they're still in shadow under the ground, maybe they have a little bit of a last minute chance.
The thing is, I don't think that applies in this movie. Because remember the opening? That's during the day.
Okay,
Oh, good
you
point.
Got me. You got me. Again, I didn't know the rules of the deadites.
Yeah.
Are
No,
these
that-
deadites or is this something completely different?
They were only really called Deadites in the Army of Darkness.
Okay, then never mind.
But I still call them Deadites.
I take it back.
I think it's easier to just call them that.
I know, but I don't want to sound stupid on the podcast. I mean, we're 170 something episodes in. I'm probably
late.
too late.
Yeah.
There, but yeah.
I think we've all passed that mark.
The amalgamation, what do we want to call it? Mother Beast?
The behemoth.
The
Ooh,
behemoth. I like
Hansy. That's what I would
that.
call it.
Hansy?
It's my friend Hansy.
It's now gotten into the garage.
Rosie Palms and her 2 kids.
It's now gotten into the garage and it's sneaking around the car and they're doing the whole like cat and mouse around the car.
It's a real Jurassic Park situation with the raptors.
yeah.
I thought it was going to be another 2013 homage where he just pushes the car over on him, but did
Yeah.
not do that.
So did I.
They bolt for the gate because it starts closing in the garage. They actually both make it out, but the mother managed to grab Cassie's leg and drag her back in, and now Beth is outside with the gate shut.
And she's screaming like, "Oh no, Cassie, what am I going to do?" I thought this was the end of the movie. I thought they were taking the whole fucking family out except for Beth, and her new child was going to be like I'll get it right with this one type situation.
Thought Beth was going to be like, you stay here, I'll go get help.
Do you want to know what? I think it would have been a better movie if she left.
Yeah.
Or if this is how it ended.
I think she should have seen, because Cassie ends up in this like van where the monster is in the van, like kind of coming after her as Beth is like busting open the gate with the shotgun,
Right.
To basically come back and get her. I think it would have been a better movie if Beth had gotten in, but it was too late and Cassie had been killed, and she's like, all right, I gotta be a good mom to make up for this tragedy that we all went through, or something like that. Agree, but no, that's not what happens. We get a real alien situation here.
Well, in a reverse situation, the demon has the chainsaw. It has it coming after Cassie, and Mommy's just like, don't worry, I just want to take your little head off. Don't calm down.
So creepy. And the thing is, it's like inches away in another shot that's like really close to a child's face with a dangerous object. I thought they were going to cut the kid's head off.
Me too.
I would not have put it past an Evil Dead movie at this point. After 2013,
They don't kill any kids in that, though.
no, but it's so visceral and gory. I mean,
Yeah.
things that I did not think were going to happen in 2013. I'm like, whoa, this is on film now.
But 18 plus murders only.
Okay, fair enough.
So, in probably the worst scene of the movie, Beth is on the back of the truck, and she shoots at the monster and says, come get some. I'm like, ah.
Did you notice she has a very dark blue outfit on, very reminiscent of the khaki blue outfit that Ash has on at the same time? The bloody face, just like Ash.
Didn't notice the color.
When
but
she's running at the van with the monster, we get Ash face cam kind of like run. The camera's like
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
in front of the face, keeping the pace with it. Again, I thought that was a nice nod. I was okay with that, but then she said, "Come get some," and I was like, "Okay."
Now, is it tradition for when he says "come get some" that he immediately gets his ass kicked? Because that's what happened here.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah,
no.
she immediately just starts losing the battle.
Classic Beth.
I know it was for the fans, but this was a little too much for the fans.
I agree.
We had a chainsaw, a yellow chainsaw.
Which you didn't mention that first they can't get out in the car because it falls in the hole, but they find the truck, which belonged to the Charlton Heston character.
Oh, okay.
That was the tree trimming truck, which is where
How did you know that?
it had whatever his name was.
Mr. Fonda?
I can't remember his name now, but that's
Yeah,
what it
it-
said on that. Yeah,
Okay,
Fonda's Tree Service
Mr.
or whatever.
Heston?
I didn't put that together. I didn't know that was his. So
That's where
interesting.
that's
Okay.
where they got the chainsaw
Oh, okay.
because it was sitting on the truck.
Gotcha.
Right, right
Okay,
on.
good to know.
I guess
shit that we just completely missed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We also didn't mention that the pizza place they go to is Henrietta's Pizza, and Henrietta is the possessed mother in the basement.
Once in my fruit cellar. Someone with a fresh soul.
Oh.
Yeah.
Deep cut there for the fans. Okay.
Was the yellow car in this movie at all?
I didn't see the Delta. Did anybody see the Delta?
I didn't.
It
No.
could have been in there. Maybe we missed it. Maybe it was in the garage
I
somewhere.
was looking, but yeah, I didn't see it.
I don't know. Who knows? There happens to be a wood chipper in. Oh, because it's the guy's tree trimming business. Okay. I'm glad you said that.
It's a very
'cause
important part
I
of this
thought- I was
garage
like,
scene.
Why the fuck do they have a tree trimmer in a building that's being condemned? I was like, I don't get this.
In this everything in this movie plugs together. I'll give them props for that, man. They're pretty good about that. Though, to your point, it does make it feel very kind of paint by numbers.
No, I because of you being on this podcast today, you've helped my score go down by a half point.
Oh,
I kind of
okay.
feel the same. I was
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, oh.
And it's not in a bad way. You've actually pointed out some things. I'm like, that makes sense.
Like a
What
kung
you're
fu
saying,
master, you're punching
yeah.
holes in this world. So anyway, we get our final fight.
After she says "come get some," the demon turns around and throws the chainsaw at her and knocks her over, and she falls down. And right above the mulcher, the demon is sitting on top of the mulcher trying to stuff Beth into it.
Okay.
She's turned on the switch and
One of her many hands.
Yeah, with one. Yeah, she's got like 6 hands now. Cassie runs around the corner and manages to turn it off just in the nick of time for Beth to get up, grab the chainsaw, and start jamming it into the demon. And then she's like, "Cassie, turn on the thing again." Turns it on, and they mulch the mother demon.
Yeah.
That's
And
how
a
that
rain of blood comes out of the mulcher.
And as the head's about to be mulched, it's like, how could you do? Like, he turns back into his sister, and she's like, "Suck it" or whatever. I don't know, some
She
stupid
says,
thing.
how could you do this to me, booby, or some pet name?
What she says is, "You really do look a lot like Mom.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to be
yeah.
a shitty mom just like her."
To be fair, I don't know if the demon's wrong. I mean, I'm just saying. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong, Beth.
And Beth,
Says the mom that's being eaten by the tree trim truck and her
you go.
kids also. So
To be fair, she was with her kids to the end.
Well,
True.
two
You
of them.
know, there you go.
I take it back.
One of them is still around, though. Momless now.
Who are we to judge
Orphan.
her parenting?
It's the next orphan movie.
and Beth punts the head straight into the mulcher, and that's the end of Ellie.
The entire garage is juiced from
So-
head to toe. It's red.
They embrace hands and they walk out. And we think that's the end of the movie, but we still have to talk about the wraparound story.
I did not see this coming. This fucked me up. I thought that was the end of the movie.
So out of floor 5, we've got this girl who's very vapid, walking around, looking at her phone. She calls the girl who gets scalped in the beginning of the movie. And she's like, I'm not really feeling all that great today, so I'm probably going to pass. She's like, "No pass. I'm coming to pick you up right now. Bye." Click. She gets in her car and then looks in the rearview mirror and happens to see the mulcher with the lake of blood in there now.
Which I would also get out and go inspect. No, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then she
I would
gets
leave
out.
immediately. Call the cops and But anyway, she gets hit with the Evil Dead whammy, and I guess one of our listeners brought up to this point, and I was like, yeah, that was kind of weird. Why is the Evil Dead whammy still farting around in the garage hours later?
I think that record does say, like, I tore them all apart and their constituent pieces still tried, so maybe there's still just enough of a physical deadite left that it can jump.
Oh well, did we see what happened to all of the
neighbors?
residents
Nope.
on the floor?
Nope.
Okay.
You didn't. We never saw the cat.
Oh, the
Don't you
cat.
fucking do this to me. That cat is okay, and he's living his best life on the street with Alice Cooper.
Okay, that's a good movie. But yes, okay, I can see that.
It's called Catman-Do.
Well, didn't all of them merge together, or was it just
No,
the kids?
just the family.
It was just the family.
6 arms, 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it
Okay.
could be one of them.
And that's how it ends the movie, I believe.
She screams, and then we fade to black, and then we get some Necronomicon art and a very oppressive soundtrack on top of the
Have
credits.
we seen Deadites drive before? Because she then drives to pick up, as a demon, drives to pick up her best friend, and then drives to the
I
cabin.
feel like if Ellie can make eggs, she can drive.
Is what she was doing making eggs?
You're right. There's way too much time to pass it from picking up your cousin to driving out to the fucking
Country.
lake in that
Yeah.
triangle cabin. All right, they lost another half point just now. Wow. All right.
So there you have it. Evil Dead Rise, not worth your fucking time.
Well, okay. I can say that when some people in the past movies get infected, it's not an immediate outbreak. So
It's a cabin fever type situation.
yeah. So it could take some time.
It takes its time.
yeah. Okay.
All right, well, there we go. Problem solved.
Evil Dead Rise. I liked it. I thought it was good. Do I like it more than 2013? I don't think so. I think 2013 is still above, but still Evil Dead 2 is my favorite of the entire franchise.
I mean, I enjoyed this movie. Again, I'm not a huge Evil Dead fan, so I feel like I'm the wrong person to actually like be the definitive voice on this. I mean, normally I am on the podcast as a definitive voice. I mean, you all should be taking my ratings as gospel, but no. I mean, it was enjoyable, but there was definitely some moments in it that I was like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I still, even after this conversation, still really, really like it. I have to watch it again. It's hard to say because I watched the 2013 one like a lot, so
Yeah.
it wins because I'm so familiar with it. It's not fair to compare this first viewing. I think I need to watch this one again to know.
Definitely want to watch it again, but yeah. I did compare it a lot to 2013, but yeah. It was
Did you
pretty
watch
good.
2013 recently?
I did.
Oh, okay. See,
I rewatched it last week, so
I haven't seen it since we did it for the podcast.
Dude, you're missing
so-
out. Even I
I
watched
know,
it not that
it's
long
really
ago.
good, but that movie's also very intense.
Yeah, it is. It
So-
is very
I did
intense.
watch some interviews too today about this new one, and they were saying a lot that said that we're going to have more movies because he goes, well, now we have 3 Necronomicons, and where's the book now?
So
and
he
then
did confirm the 3 are in play.
Bruce Campbell was saying
Oh,
it,
Bruce
and then
Campbell, okay.
and then he said that that they were glad that they got it out of the cabin of the woods because now basically the options are open.
Space.
Damn it. I knew he
Space.
was going to say space.
okay. Only if the Necronomicon is on some like sort of e-disc. You know, it's been translated into some digital
You
form.
just see it floating in space in front of the spaceship. How did it get there? Doesn't matter.
The Leprechaun brought it up
Yes.
there. I'm
Phenomenal crystal.
It's just some real shitty graphic too. It's like just some guy who threw it across the camera and they slow motioned it, you know?
It's going to be a podcast. That's how it's going to travel.
Oh yeah.
Hidden podcast that someone
John is
finds.
going to read it on our podcast.
Yeah,
That's
or
He
like
said
a-
you can't stop stupid.
That's true. Twitch, you know, some sort of streaming service
There we
gets it
go.
out there to a lot of people. There's a lot they could do.
a lot of places to go with it. Okay. Well, any other lingering thoughts on Evil Dead Rise before we wrap?
I think I said everything. I like seeing it. I want to see it again, but it just wasn't my top.
Why don't you tell the people at home where they can find your content? What you're up to.
bloodovertexas.com.
Okay.
That's basically it. It has a calendar of all of our events, and then we're on all of the socials.
All right,
right.
Mark, what is next? Wait, you asked me that, don't you?
Yeah, but I know what we're doing
It's
next.
a real role reversal today.
I got it. We're doing the Blob.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Didn't you watch this one recently?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing this recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. We're going to watch it again.
He needs to get it out of his system or he will not
He
shut
was-
up
yeah,
about the
he's
blob.
just not gonna let it go.
He's like, did you know it was a blob? Bro, it eats people. Like, fuck.
Hey, look.
Sorry, spoiler for the blob, by the way. It eats people.
Damn, we're not even in the episode yet and you're already spoiling it now, John.
Leroy's going to come on and bring us the deets about the original Blob because I haven't seen it in
The
quite
black
some
and
time.
white one, right?
Right.
Okay.
It used to be called the blub. Then someone was like, this is not going to work.
The Blub. The Blab. No, the Blob. Ah, that makes more sense. All right, listeners, we're going to hang up now. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.